All right, we're starting a little bit early. I realized I don't have my hat on. Dang it, and sorry, I don't know where my hat's at. My hair was a little messed up. What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. We're starting a couple of minutes early. For anybody that doesn't know kind of what's going on, if you're not in the Modbot Army Discord or haven't seen it, yesterday I took a break from work and I started hearing running water, and they were chopping down 2 trees right out front, so I figured maybe one of the workers outside was using the hose, but it sounded incredibly loud. And so I got out from the other room, walked down the hall, and just saw water pouring down from our kitchen ceiling. And it has been a crazy 24 hours. It ended up, we had to have a plumber come out that was able to basically push in a lot of the roof in the kitchen, and they discovered that it's coming from upstairs, but this is currently the kitchen. So this is what they tore. Well, they didn't even have to use the saw they brought. They just pushed up and the ceiling fell down. So I'm pretty sure the whole kitchen roof is gone. Like, they're gonna have to rip it out. And then the flooring that I'm standing on, yesterday, after standing here for a little while, my socks got wet. So the property owner is coming, we rent. So the property owner is coming a little bit later on, but upstairs, she's already drilling into her floor, removing stuff. And she has some, I don't know what the service is called where you dry everything out, but they're on a lunch break right now. It's been really loud, and I have the mic with a little bit of a filter, but because I don't know how aggressive the sounds are gonna be, I want to jump right into today, and I also don't know how long we'll be streaming. You guys will have to let me know like how bearable it is, but if it becomes to the point where we just can't stream, I'll have to end it early. So that's what's going on with me, which is really unfortunate. We're like 90 days out from moving, and so my main concern really is like what this means for us. Like, will we all have to leave here for weeks on end? And if that happens, like, where will we stay? How will we do video stuff? Like, so I should have many more answers once the owner comes this afternoon. But yeah, right now it's just hole in ceiling and water. So yeah, that's what's going on with me. Hello, everybody. So yeah, today we are taking a look at the Bambu Lab X1 Carbon, which I did a video on last week and has since gained a lot of interest. I know that there are a lot of units out there. It seems like, I know Joel posted one. I know that Breaks and Makes or 3D Maker Noob has one. Stefan from CNC Kitchen had one casually hanging out in his kitchen set. Brian Vines has one. Edge of Tech has one. There's a lot of these out in the wild, so I imagine a lot more content will be going on. But yeah, the goal of today was really sort of to be a follow-up video to that, so that way we can see it in action, hang out. If anyone has questions, I will absolutely do my best to sort of answer those questions. I think that my plan of action right now is to just instantly fire up the Benchy print that comes on here, because I know a lot of people are excited to just like see it in action, and the Benchy print does have the starting like resonance compensation and the LiDAR stuff going on. So I think we'll start off with that, and then while that's printing, which it's like a 17-ish minute print, we'll jump over into the slicer so that we can take a look at that, because the slicer, it's compatible with third-party slicers, but it doesn't, other slicers will not be able to use the LiDAR technology, which is like a huge bonus of what this machine is able to do. So I think that taking a look at the slicer in more detail will be a really good sort of starting point while it's printing. And then once the Benchy's done, I am totally up for whatever. We can prod at it, we can look at different things, we can ran whatever prints we want. So yeah, we can do whatever. Are these on loan? No, I don't know about everyone else's situation with these tripods, but as far as I know, this is mine to hold on to. And they told me that this is, and I think I stated that in the video, but they said that this is the final hardware. I think this was actually one of the first off the line for the final version of the machine as far as hardware goes. They're still tweaking firmware. There's a few things that need some adjustments. The app on the phone needs a little bit of work, and the slicer, they're still fine-tuning stuff, but the slicer I think is really good. So let's kind of do it. I've got this camera. I've got, as you can probably see, this is right here on the front, so I can just open this up and we can take a look inside. So I think what I'll do is I will come around and we will get a print started, and then we'll come back over here and take a look at the slicer and answer, and I'll do my best to answer questions or look at certain things. So let's do that so we at least have something going, because it's been crazy loud all morning, so I don't want to take for granted this sort of moment of silence. Let's see. Okay, so you guys, I need to drag, 1 second. It's a little bit interesting being on the other side of the screen. So let me grab my OBS, drag it over here so I can see. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and first, I guess, take a look at this whole top station. Let's see if I can get this thing high enough. There we go. Okay, so this is the AMS, which isn't something that comes standard with the machine. It's an add-on. I think the early bird Kickstarter pricing is, I just kicked the camera, $9.99, and then I believe after that it goes up to $12.49 for the remaining Kickstarter units, and then it goes up to, I think, $14.49. Don't quote me on that, it's off the top of my head, but it's a pretty awesome system. Basically, it allows you to front load filament. It's got 4 different sort of drive gears that can pull the filament down, and it has storage slots for desiccant. It is sealed, like there's actual gaskets on the inside lip, so it does help to retain a certain level of humidity, which is really nice for printing with sort of, you know, nylons or PVAs or anything like that. It does work for multi-material. Someone asked earlier, so right now, like when I mentioned the firmware needs a little bit. Also for chat, everybody right now, I don't have, like I can see when the chat rolls up on the stream, but I can't see it how I normally see it. So if I'm a little bit delayed, I apologize. What was I saying? Yeah, so as of right now, like one of the things that I think needs to be changed is in the slicer, if you're printing with multi-material, you can choose like, hey, use this for this part, this for that part, that for that part, and this for that part. However, when you're printing in single extrusion mode, it's going to always grab the far left. They told me that that's just something that needs to be basically tweaked or added in the slicer. So that should be something. I don't see how that would be difficult to accomplish, considering that they already have the functionality to assign colors or slots to different parts of the print. And then someone just asked on the video if it works where, let's say you have like 4 of the same thing and you're running a big print, but you know, this is kind of getting low and you know it might not have enough. Can it splice, or it doesn't splice, it basically cuts and removes and then feeds the next one. Can it jump to the next spool? As of right now, it cannot do that. That was one of my first recommendations because Ultimaker has like their material station, which is the only thing I've really seen that even looks remotely sort of like this. And that's one of the things that it can do. And so I did give them that feedback. I think that to me, that should be like a no-brainer since there is a filament runout sensor. There should be an option to basically just grab the next spool. But again, that's not something it has right now. And I don't want to speak on behalf of like what it doesn't have. I only want to show off kind of, you know, what it currently has. So as far as loading goes, it's super simple. You just put in the filaments into the slot. So let's see, like for this one, we get it, put it in the slot. There's a little like entry point right here. And the second you start putting it in there, it will sense it. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. So it'll sense it, it'll basically feed it inwards till it hits a certain spot. Like this, I think it goes down to the buffer basically where it senses it. So it does that so that way it knows exactly where it's at. Once it touches that sensor point, it then, and then it will start reversing it. Okay, there we go. Nice 3D piece has only one filament runout sensor. Yeah, I believe there's only one filament runout sensor, but the filament runout sensor is in the head of the unit, so it shouldn't really matter what, whether it has 4 or not, because it only needs the one down below. Okay, so basically that's loaded up, and you can load them all up. Like I only have, I think yellow's loaded up, and this one's loaded up right now. And then closes up, it's got these little tabs on top, so you can sort of seal it in place. The thing I did also call out in the video is that some of the spools, specifically Protopastas, were a bit too tall. When I closed this, it sort of pinched downwards on it. And the way I was able to work with those spools was just to leave the top open, while printed solids were too wide and there's no way to use them in their current state with that. But these are Polyterra, this is Bambu Labs, they do have their own filament as well, but I primarily been using Polymaker spools. Polymaker spools work absolutely perfectly fine with this thing. So let's see, let me actually grab, 1 second, I wanna see chat. That's the whole point of the stream, is to be able to see chat and what's going on. So give me 1 second here, guys. All right, pop out chat. Okay, there we go. Now I can see. Let's see. Only one filament is there. No. Can we do a race between the Voron Switchwire or 0.1 versus Bambu Lab set to 10,000 acceleration? Maybe. Definitely not in today's stream. I don't like, because of everything going on right now. It's sort of a mess in here. Like, most of my printers are on the kitchen table because of the ceiling situation, but we can potentially do some races if you'd like. Have you tried printing with breakaway or dissolvable? I have not tried printing with breakaway or dissolvable yet. It's primarily been the multicolors that I showed off, and then basically just the convenience of front loading. They did just do some updates in the latest build of the slicer that does add some more multi-material features. So yes, I can and will play around with that a bit more just on my own time and sort of post some of the results that I have. So regarding the, I'm trying to think of what do we really want to see, because a lot of it was in my review video. I kind of just want to get the print started. Let's see. So as I mentioned in the video, like, the bed is a magnetic flex plate. It has one sticker side and then one side that's sort of like, I don't know, like a painted coating that I've never seen before. This side's for nylon, TPU, and polycarbonate. Someone asked about other build plates, and I would imagine that if someone wanted to manufacture one specific for this, you could, but this little lip right here, which I thought was just for sort of placement, it actually serves a purpose. The way the machine's G-code is, or something in the firmware, it basically goes after it's heated up and purged enough filament, it cools down the nozzle, and it uses the nozzle up against this metal plate to sort of keep it from dripping all over the build plate or all over anywhere. So the build plate would need this sort of special cutout notch on it. So that's the only thing there's nothing else on this build plate I would say that's super unique, but that would be sort of the one thing that whoever makes a build plate for it would require. It would require that notch on it. How quick does it send notifications to mobile phones? The mobile phone notifications are pretty dang quick. How do you know if you'll be able to change nozzle sizes? I don't know about nozzle sizes. Someone asked about nozzles in general, and I'm super bummed because they sent a spare nozzle. So their nozzles, let me actually bring this closer so you guys can kind of see this. And I also do have the ability to zoom. Okay, so that should work. Sorry, it's gonna be focusing because it's kind of dark, but the whole front housing is just held on by magnets, which makes it super convenient to put it off to the side and take a look at it. Actually, let me see if I can tap focus. I'll do my best for you guys. It's a little bit of a struggle because it's so dark inside. Okay, so the nozzle, the heater block, and the heatsink is this super, I mean, look at my thumb. It is incredibly small. So I haven't had to replace it yet, and I don't have the spare one. I should have some more coming pretty soon here. There was actually supposed to be some extra filament and a heatsink that was gonna show up, but FedEx lost the package and called me yesterday saying it'll be delivered today. But it's my understanding that I think it's just one unit. I can't confirm until I have the spares to see if there's like a little set screw. But I believe that it's just these two screws that sort of bolt it in place. It is a really small setup. And I did see that in the slicer, there is a section that says like X1 carbon 0.4, which makes me anticipate they will have a different size nozzles, but I don't know definitively. So I can't say for certain. Will we have to pay for the slicer app or something? Is it so cheap? What's the catch? As far as I know, you won't have to pay for this. I mean, like the initial slicer at least, it did. I'm not sure about long term, like if they're going to be adding some sort of special features that could be more of a premium option thing to opt in. I don't know that. But the core slicer and all of its like functionality that they're working on right now should be part of the package. There's been no mention of sort of like a premium service for this. I have wondered magnets for fans best. Yeah, the magnets are amazing. When I first saw that, I was like, that is so freaking convenient. And I mean, they're really strong magnets. It's super easy to sort of get this thing. Of course, I say that if you can see what you're doing. There we go. It snaps right in place. And then there's the light bar right here. Camera is right here. And the massive fan, man, it's so dark. Let's see. Let me see if I bring this light a little bit closer for everybody. And then let me crank it up. See this? That might have helped a little bit. It was on, I cranked it up like 70%. Ah, I kicked the camera again. This fan This fan right here is really like one of, I mean, it's something that really allows it to print much quicker. When I first printed the Benchy, I was so confused as to how it wasn't just a big blob of melted material. And it's because of this fan that blows up through this vent and across, like you can see like where the vent comes out, and then it blows right across the build plate. And it does also have like a standard hot end cooling fan or layer cooling fan. So it does have this blower fan on the back side here that blows through, yeah, the video, or it's kind of dark in here. But it does have that as well. Is the hot block ABS nozzle proprietary? I would say that yes, the heater block is definitely proprietary. Most everything on here is proprietary. I can't think of, other than being able to use your own filament, yeah, it's definitely not a open system. So let me see. Oh, then this is the crazy, so back here is this little lever that it hits, which opens down the chute in the back. There's a nozzle cleaner as well right here. Let me go ahead and fire up a print really quick. All right. Let me see if I cancel this. Can we get a focus? There we go. Okay, so file, Benchy. So one thing that is cool, like there's a couple things about them using their specific firmware over like what's existing that allows them to do some unique things. Like there has been times in the past where I've sliced up things, or I've got a bunch of files on an SD card, and I can't remember, did I slice it for PLA, PTG, or ABS? I mean, not often, but being able to see like definitively, hey, this is meant for PLA, this is what you sliced it for, is pretty freaking cool. And then right now, there's some files that came preloaded on the actual machine itself, and these like bed leveling, flow calibration, and vibration compensation, regardless of whether you uncheck or check them, it still runs them. However, from the slicer and everything new you slice, you can disable those. So like if you don't want it to run the full bed leveling sequence, you can tell it not to. Same with the resonance compensation or the input shaper. And the flow calibration would be pressure advance, and then the vibration calibration, which would be the input shaper. Hey, Sem, I just saw, thank you very much for becoming a Modbot Army member. Thank you for joining, I appreciate it, man. I'm sweating bullets right now. Our AC here doesn't work either. It's an interesting time. So yeah, let's go ahead, I think, and just kind of start this up. And then afterwards, we'll jump over to the slicer and take a look at that, because I think there clearly will be interest in that. And then after that, again, we can do whatever. I'll do my best to answer questions. And the team has been very, very responsive in terms of answering questions. So if there are a list of questions, I have no problem shooting them over and seeing like what they have answers to right away, what they don't have answers to right away. So we'll do that. But yeah, let's go ahead and hit print now. The speed of the hot end fan is too slow or stop, might be stuck or got burned. That's interesting. I've never seen that warning before. Huh, I wonder if that was a false trigger. I will say that where this machine was sitting yesterday is where the ceiling broke, and I did see some splashes on the back of it, but I don't see how it could have damaged anything. I think we're fine. It says heat bed preheating. Cool, so the bed is preheating. Let me go ahead. Dan, did you find the Monster Monarch? I absolutely did. Me and Aaron love them. So there's apparently 2 different Monarch monsters, and the one we like is the one that doesn't taste like fruit punch. So not the chaotic one, but the other one. We definitely like them. Oh crap, yes, sorry. We're also doing our giveaway today. Thank you, G Funny. We are doing a spool of Polymaker filament. That is an international giveaway. Everyone will be eligible, and we're gonna open that up a little bit earlier today. It's 12:16 currently. Is that the... Oh, let me, okay, so it's doing things. Let's bring this down a little bit. Oh, you know what? Hopefully it can, I just realized that I still have some ABS in the throat. So hopefully it can purge it. We'll find out. Let's see. Yes, so there will be a giveaway. Apologize. We will start that. We'll open it up at 1 p.m., which is in 40 minutes, and then we'll draw at 1:30 p.m. So an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you, G Funny. Hey, what's going on, Maker Viking? It feels very weird being on this side, but it's nice that it's even an option. Okay, so now it's purging. It's loading the spool from up top. And then you should be able to, let's see if I zoom in here, we should probably be able to see it coming out. Yeah, so the ABS is purging. Still orange from the ABS, still orange. It should be a, I guess like a teal color, or, okay, I see the teal coming through. It's starting to get there, fully teal. Hey, what's up, Jim? Edge of Tech is here. He's been playing around with this thing as well. So is the scanner like clicky? No, clicky. Oh wait, so when it does the flow calibration, is it calibrating pressure advance as well as flow extruder multiplier, or just pressure advance? Oh, a little bit of drip came out. Let's see if it falls off. I might grab it though. So it's doing pressure advance. Grabbing that. It's doing pressure advance and there is some, I believe there is some element of flow calibration in there as well. But the thing is, you can adjust your overall flow from the actual slicer itself. You don't have fine control of it, which is something I requested. Like if I want to have, because for example, on some of the ABS parts, the parts were looking really, really good, but the top layers needed more filament. And so they said that they're working on the algorithm to make that a bit more, I guess, consistent, if you will. So yeah, I would say it's more of a pressure advance slash like verifying the, it is verifying flow as well. I did get the new slicer. I have not played around with it yet because our ceiling collapsed in the kitchen, Jim. I don't think you're in the Discord, but hold on, I'll go back to this in 1 second. But if you go to, where's the overhead? That's our kitchen currently. So yeah, I have not gotten much of a chance to play around. Okay, so now it's doing the input shaper stuff for the. Have you seen the Light 3D S1 resin printer? I have not seen it. What is that? Yeah, it's been a very interesting 24 hours, and I'm not sure what's going to happen in terms of like work slash living situation. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if you can hear it over the fans. Tiny resin boy, interesting. No, I'll have to look at that. Can you message me that on Twitter? Not on Twitter, on Discord, sorry. LiDAR is used to measure flow against acceleration pressure advance. Okay, Derek confirmed it. Yeah, because basically you'll see when it lays down the lines, it's laying down the lines at different accelerations, which it'll do, well, it's doing the leveling stuff now. Once it's done the leveling stuff. I also realized I was wrong in the video. I said it does a 5x5 grid, but I don't think I can count. I'm pretty sure it's a 6x6 grid. Hey, Monkey. Monkey was freaking out yesterday because of all the water. Okay, I'll let it do its thing for a minute. Oh. Dustin's an option, and they say if you're printing with the same filament, you shouldn't need to, but I have been. It's time you're saving. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I also said the same thing. That was one of my kind of questions, was if it's basically running input shaper at different accelerations, you should technically be able to save either material profiles, or if you're rinsing and repeating, there should be absolutely no need for it. So it sounds like it's a little bit ambiguous to me. It's not insanely long. Like, I don't think that, for me, the things I won't be doing every time when I haven't been doing is the input shaper. I don't see any need unless I'm like moving the machine around heavily on a different surface. I just don't see a point in it. The leveling I've pretty much been doing every time, but I think I've skipped it a couple times and I've been fine. And then I have been running the sort of input shaper, no, pressure advance every single time as well, just for consistency, and it works really well. It seems like it's working really well. The, Jim, did you try, I looked at the change log or the change notes from this current slicer build, and it sounds like you have the option to turn off the first layer scanning. Have you tried that yet? Because that's something I would probably turn off. I'm usually still like, call it, you know, old habits die hard, and I still watch the first layer every time pretty much. And so I don't, like, I'm confident that if I think it's good to go, it's good to go. Yeah, I would say about the same thing, Jim. I've been saving about 2/3 of the print time. Not against all of the Vorons. I mean, the Vorons do print pretty quickly, but I also don't push the Vorons to their max capacity because I usually go for like a middle ground of quality and speed, and I'd rather not compromise on quality for speed. But because this is just set to like super quick mode out of the box, it has been running faster than I usually would run any of my Vorons. But I do think that like a super, well, yeah, there's other things on this that make it where, like, my Vorons don't have the level of cooling that this has. That big blower fan on the left-hand side is definitely something that's really unique. And I'm sure I could easily add it or mod it, but it's not there by default. Hey, if you guys have not, please hit the like button as well. It really helps out the channel. And we do a stream here every single Wednesday, so there's a lot of awesome stuff that's been happening and will be happening. It looks like that first layer. I wonder if I didn't put enough glue down or something initially. I did clean it up. Let's see. No, it looks fine. Yeah, so basically right now it's running these lines at different acceleration speeds, and I don't know if you can see the LiDAR very much, but there is the purple light or the UV light that's scanning those lines. Oh, I realized I have it on Click Focus app. Maybe that's a little bit better. We almost canceled the stream because of the flooding, but I really didn't want to cancel, especially because I announced it beforehand. Have you had any fails? The only fails I have had, I mentioned, I think, 3 situations, but they were not because of the machine. One was, it looked like I had a clog when I was printing PETG, and so I was actually really bummed because that would have been my first true failure. And then when I unloaded the filament and looked at it, it was not to spec. Like, it was supposed to be 1.75 and it was probably 2 mil plus. So I cut that, reloaded it, and hit reprint, and it was good to go. Let me, one second here. Let me go around and get a good camera angle for you guys. So there was that. I also had a tangle in the AMS, which was the filament spool that was just tangled up. And then I also had a couple of kind of poor looking prints that were due to, what was it? It was wet nylon. The only things I've had at all on this that I would say were the machine's fault is that on some of the ABS parts, the top layer, I don't even know what I want to focus on. Let me see if I just let it do its thing. Oh, nope, that's really blurry. One second, let me see if I can figure this out. I don't know, let me see. This camera is not the one I normally use for a small, let's see. It's gonna be aggressive, isn't it? Ah! Focus is creeping in and out. Let's see. Nope, that's not all right. I'm gonna play around with it for a second. Give me a second, guys. Let's see. Flexible spot. Let's see if that does it. Nope, that's not doing it either. Yeah, autofocus is hammered. I can go to manual focus, which I don't mind doing manual focus, but the issue I have is on this camera. Oh, yeah, I think we're good. I think I'm just going to leave it like that for now until the print is done because I don't want to screw things up, and it seems like it's focusing. Yeah, let's just let it do its thing. Manual focus is not the reason I bought that camera. I bought it for really good autofocus, but I don't normally have objects moving so quickly in trying to be in focus. So yeah, let's just roll with that. Oh man. No, this is a single color Benchy that just, this is like this is the first file I printed. I don't actually, I love Benchy. I love the Benchy model, but I haven't printed I haven't printed them as much lately, but because I was like, all right, let's see like what it does with a Benchy. And I hit print, Aaron ran to the store to get some stuff for lunch, and I was just freaking out because like, I just have never seen, like, come on, like this is usually a machine. Well, I don't know if I've ever, it's always online that I see printers printing this fast. I don't push my printers as fast. And so I was very concerned, but although it was, you know, quite loud and like rattling, I was looking at the Benchy and I'm like, that looks really freaking good. I tried ludicrous mode just for a brief second, Jim, but I had to run out the door to dinner with a buddy. And so I was absolutely not, although the machine has been incredibly reliable based off my experience, like I did not trust to hit ludicrous mode and just bail out. So I did run it for a little bit, and I definitely saw like the quality of the Benchy certainly degraded, but I would still say compared to a lot of Benchies I've seen on speed tests, like it was pretty insane. Nozzle size is 0.4. Is the motion linear rod based? Yeah, so it's carbon fiber rods on the x-axis and then your typical metal rods for the y-axis. I haven't measured the size, but they do look pretty standard. Like looking at the Prusa, I've got the Prusa MK3S right here. It looks, I would say they're identical. I can grab my calipers after if you'd like, but I would say they're near identical. Yeah, it's just insane. Like, yeah, 8mm rods. What brand of 8mm rods? Oh, sorry, I read brand. Which bend? I don't know. If you want to demolish a house, just leave this printer at full speed inside. Yeah, I've been really impressed. Again, the only issue, like, I was concerned about adhesion. They do recommend putting some glue stick down, but I'm not actually convinced that the glue stick is for adhesion. I think it might actually be to help you be able to remove your part easier, because when I initially got this, I was like, glue stick, and I did just a tiny little bit, and it was sticking like crazy. And like I said in the video, the carbon fiber nylon that I printed on the other side of this, it was so easy to print. Like, the adhesion was great, the extrusion was like really consistent, and it printed it like not this fast. This is like, I don't actually know what this is sliced at speed-wise, but it's still printed insanely fast. So the adhesion hasn't been any issue. And the weird thing is, to me, like I've used a lot of build surfaces, everything from back in the old days, like painter's tape to Kapton tape to hairspray on glass to glue stick on glass to build tack to PEI to what else? Like powder coated PEI, Garolite. I've used a lot of build surfaces, and both of the build surfaces on here, I'm not super familiar with. Like the build surface that comes on the cool side, I would say is probably closest to the satin sheet from Prusa. I don't know if I can even say that. Like the satin sheet has some texture to it, while the smooth, or the cool plate is what they call it, doesn't really have any texture. And then the engineering side is also very, very smooth, but it's a coating. It's not a sheet. Like the entire spring steel is like baked in whatever that surface is. So I don't know what the surface is that they're using, but they've certainly found something that makes it where the adhesion is stupid good. Yeah, to help release the part. Yeah, like what Jim said, that's what I think. Looking at the salt infill print is trippy. You should do a live stream and do the Crystal Dragon. Glue stick is the barrier for adhesion. Okay, yeah. I wonder how stiffness of the rods compare to the solid stainless usual rods. Take it apart and put them on a press CNC kitchen. Is this basically an enclosed Voron Legacy? I've never used the Voron Legacy, so I don't know. There's just there are a lot of crazy things about this machine. I mean, like, I think that the key things are obviously, one, it's really stiff. It's a Core XY. It's fully enclosed. That big cooling fan on the left-hand side, like I said, is something I've only seen on very modified machines. And like the typical issues with printing fast is being able to melt enough material, being able to push enough material consistently, so the extrusion system as well, Obviously, the machine's rigidity slash, like, it helps a lot having input shaper to sort of counter that ghosting and ringing. But cooling is also a major factor. Typically, you know, you can print as fast as you want, but if you can't cool the plastic as quick as you need to, the prints aren't going to look good. So to have this sort of massive internal fan blowing up across it is awesome. It's such a cool thing. And I'm not saying that, you know, they're the original, because I've seen it on sort of DIY modded machines, but I don't know of any manufacturers doing it just, you know, out of the box like this. Plus the LiDAR too, I put all my thoughts into that video. I'm pretty, like, I spent a lot of time sort of crafting that video, and I think that it sort of covers my impressions on it based off of my experience so far. And now all that's left is, you know, how does it hold up over time, and how does the firmware and slicer sort of continue to evolve from this point forward. How big is the RCS fan? I don't know. For some reason, I think that, I think Derek might... Derek, are you with Bambu Labs? Because it seems like you're answering things definitively, so... If you are, then maybe you'll know. I don't know the size of the fan. It's loud. It's loud, SV, and it's definitely... It's up there for one of the louder machines that I have. Especially when that loud fan on the side's going. There is a silent mode, is what they call it, where you can basically just tap the screen and shift it from normal to like silent, something else, and then ludicrous. But even at silent, I wouldn't say it's silent. It would not, like, if your goal is to have silent machine, I can't say that it would be my recommendation. It's definitely a fairly noisy machine, just because of the sheer speed it's like whipping around and the cooling that's needed. Hey, what's up, Mark? We can do ludicrous. Let's do ludicrous on a different print though, just so that way, like, I want to just show this one kind of as it is, because ludicrous, I have a feeling, especially once we're getting to the higher up points, it's going to cause the quality to degrade. There is so much tech built into this that it's going to be a game changer. Remember, the X1 doesn't have the fan. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that the regular X1 can have the fan added later. Yeah, the main, someone asked me about the differences between the X1 and the X1 Carbon, and it's my understanding that look-wise, they're going to be incredibly similar. The main differences I remember is that instead of being aluminum and glass, it's polycarbonate and, oh, what is it? Polycarbonate, and they have it on their website. I can actually tell you guys, 1 second here. Oops. Let's see. Bambu Lab. Okay, so X1 versus, this is the X1 Carbon. So the differences are that the shell on the X1 is made out of polycarbonate and glass versus aluminum and glass. So the sides would be plastic instead of aluminum. The extruder gears on this one and the nozzle are both hardened steel, while on the X1, it's just standard steel, which is still really good, but it's not hardened steel. It does say nozzle, okay, I didn't see this. So nozzle diameter says 0.2, 0.6, or 0.8, while the 0.4 is the standard. I've only used the 0.4. I don't know if the other ones even exist yet. And like I said, based off of my initial impressions, and I think I've got a couple of the extra 0.4, whatever they're calling their setup, it does not look like something where you'll be able to just swap out the nozzle. It looks like the heatsink, the heat break setup with the heater block and nozzle is sort of like one unit. It is very small. We took a look at it actually before this, and I have a video, a small video of it in the main review I did. They are super, super small. Edutech says X1 has no fan, no camera, no high temp nozzles, different shell, not hardened steel. Okay, so interesting. That's not bad then. So the fan to me is sort of a deal breaker, because for the speeds, I think it really needs that fan. But if you're saying that the fan can be added, for people that don't really want to print out a ton of abrasives, having it still being in steel instead of hardened steel means that you will be able to do abrasives on it. It just will degrade quicker than using a hardened steel, but that's still cool. And then the camera, maybe some people won't care about having the camera. What I am really curious about though is what becomes of, because they do mention that there's supposed to be some sort of spaghetti detective, which to me, it's not a feature. Like if they just had not said it was coming with that, I would have been like, yeah, that's fine. It does a lot. but because they said it and they have a photo of it, I am very curious to see what that looks like when it comes out, because if it ends up being really good, then it might be worth having the camera just for that. But like I said, based off of my experience so far, I haven't had any spaghetti messes, and I probably have ran, God, in the video alone, I've probably ran 30 plus prints on this thing, I would say, of like, I mean, PLA, ABS, PETG, TPU, nylon, carbon fiber nylon, I think that covers it. And there's been no major spaghetti messes at all. So I don't know how much it will truly be needed, but we'll see. But they said they would have all the parts to add later for about the same price as buying it all together. So that is cool. I didn't know that or see that. Is it just a carrier on top, or is it multi-material? It is multi-material. So I've only used it for multicolor. I haven't done multi-material printing yet. But the thing that I mentioned in the video I did on this that's pretty cool is, so like, okay, like I'm gonna compare it to like the palette, because it's sort of the closest multi-material station I can think of. The way the palette works is it basically takes in well, their new one takes in a ton, but it takes in different filaments, it heats up the ends of them and sort of pushes them together. And that allows it to sort of just feed in via one strand and print out. And although that works, and I've seen people get beautiful prints off of it, there are some definite limitations, because not all materials want to bond with each other or work with each other. While on this, it's going in, printing out with a specific color, then from I haven't seen the inside of the mechanism, but it's my understanding it's actually chopping the end off of it, then pulling it out, and then loading in the next one. So you don't have to really worry nearly as much about material compatibilities, because you can sort of embed a material inside of another material without having them actually need to fuse on a strand level. So there's so much, like, I think that for me to truly cover everything I would like to cover, you know, I would say we can maybe revisit in 6 months' time to see where it's at as far as like the Kickstarter, you know, being fulfilled, the retail units being available, and sort of what's gone on with everything. But I did my best to cover. The focal point was the machine. For sure, testing out all of its mechanisms. And then I tried, and I even stated in the video that, like, I think that this thing needs its own dive and its own video, because there's a lot more to it than I anticipated. And I'm thinking and hoping it will only continue to get better. Earlier I mentioned that one of the things I would like to see is the ability to, when one spool runs out, just tap into the next spool and continue the print. Or if you're printing with a single spool, still be able to choose which spool you want to go from versus it grabbing from the far left. It does use a purge bucket or a tower, or slash both, depending on what you want. But I'll show you, actually, why are we not... Oh, I want you guys to see this. After this is done, we'll look at the slicer when we fire up something else. I did promise Durant that we'd print out the, oh gosh, what is it? The little dragon, that's like the calibration dragon. Let's see. It has the same name as the little cat that we printed out a couple weeks ago, but it says dragon. Let me see here. Yeah, so it was when it started getting towards the top where I was really confused as to how the quality was still even looking, like, as good as it was looking. Cali Dragon, okay, there we go. Because of the fact that it's printing so quickly, and it has to be that fan. That fan on the side is what's allowing it to print this quickly and still, like, and not just become a goopy mess. Okay, let's put on some different tunes here. Okay, Cali Dragon is what we said, right? Cali Dragon. There it is. Yeah, so we'll print out the Cali Dragon afterwards, and then we will take a look at the slicer. I'll show you sort of how the purge stuff works and all that. Are the belts glass fiber reinforced? They will loosen up fast at this crazy speed. I would imagine so. I can confirm. I don't know, is there a way to check without actually cutting them? The only time I've really been able to see is when I cut them, and it's really tough to cut the scissors and you can sort of see the embedding. Yes, you can use bigger spools in the back or with a different spool holder and can unplug the arms. Yeah. But yeah, with the AMS, that was an issue I ran into. Printed solid spools definitely do not fit inside of here, and protopastas will fit width-wise, but height-wise, when you close it and clamp it down, there's too much pressure on it. So I basically opened the top of this and just left the lid open, and then for PLA it was no issue. The only issue I could see is like if you're printing with a nylon or something like that that's going to be absorbing a lot of moisture, or even a PETG, that's kind of a bummer because having it open means it's exposed to the environment, so it's more likely to absorb moisture more rapidly. It does have belt tension calibration, but I have not used it. Wow, we do have over 100 people here. That's insane. Thank you everybody for hanging out. If you have not, again, please hit the like button. We stream every single week. Next week, I don't actually know what we're doing because of everything going on with the water. This next week's stream will probably be scheduled a little bit later because of the current situation going on here. So now it's unloading the spool, which is pretty cool because you don't ever, I really like that about the AMS because every time you're done printing, you can just walk up and take out the spool. You don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta heat up the hot end because I left the filament in there. So let's see. So yeah, let me really quick go up here. And so, let's see, go up a little bit more. And also I think I'm zoomed in like crazy, aren't I? Yes. Okay, so yeah, with this, like I said, basically every time a print's done, it unloads, which is really freaking handy. So when you're like, all right, I'm done, just pull it out and then you can load in something else. And it just does that by default, which it might sound like a small feature, but the amount of times I've cut a spool of filament instead of heating up the nozzle because I'm in a hurry or just don't have the time or need the spool, it might be, it's probably a very small detail, but I find it very, very cool. Let's see, let's just load in the next spool of material. We'll use this for the dragon. Like this. And then we'll jump into the slicer in a second here. Just close it up, let it do its thing. Okay, so it's doing its loading thing. It'll touch the sensor, then back out. Let's go back down to here. And then we'll just pop this off. Let's take a close look at it. Let's see. Let me put it off to the side for 1 second here and just clear out so I don't forget. There's been at least a couple of times now where I've forgotten to take out some of the material. It is also magnetic, so I could remove it, but normally, as long as it's not really hot, I don't have a difficult time just kind of pulling. But because I'm on camera and at a very awkward angle, it might not happen. Yeah, let me check it out really quick. Okay, bed is basically cleared. Let's slide this back in. There's little tabs in the back too that allow it to line up, so it's really easy to get sort of back into position. And then let's take a look at this. Let's see, autofocus is going to be a requirement. There we go. So I said this in the video as well, but it's not perfect. But there's if you look at the I guess the bow or the front right here, you can see some imperfections. There's a light bit of stringiness in between the middle right there. But all I'm saying is like, considering that this was just spit out in 17 minutes plus, you know, the calibration that was added a few minutes for sure to it, though, like it's a very impressive print, and that's what blew me away. Is I've seen printers print a benchy in, you know, 45 minutes or even north of that, depending on what the acceleration and slicer is set to. And it's been nowhere near this. And like, even this part, like, let's see, I can show it. So the very top, there's definitely a little bit of slop or like where the seam's at, but considering that it prints at 230 PLA because of the speeds it's going at, it does a damn good job of cooling it. It's just really freaking awesome. So yeah, that's pretty insane because most of the benchies that I've seen coming off of quick prints don't look good at all. So, all right, let me come around to this side and then let's open up the slicer. All right, Bambu Lab. Okay, so let's go desktop. And then we're gonna download the Mick Guy Beer, I like that name, Dragon. Let's see, we'll download all, save, show in Finder, move this over here, extract all. Okay, so let's open up the slicer, and this is their newest version or whatever. Hey, I heard a notification. What was that? Hey, nice 30p. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you very much. Okay, would be interesting to see how a print at sane speeds comes out. Yeah, I know that I left most everything at default because, to be honest with you, like the fact that this machine is sort of set, or is set with their hardware and their slicer and stuff, I kind of wanted to just leave most things as is to see what it came out like. I know that Brian, I believe, has printed some stuff at a little bit more reasonable speeds and said that it was perfect. Like he was, so I know that he has one, and I'm excited to see sort of his thoughts on it as well. This Polymaker spool giveaway will be opening up in 11 minutes, and then we'll let it run for half an hour, and then we'll draw. Do you think this will compete with the new Anchor Make? I absolutely do think it will compete with the new Anchor Make. I think that if this Kickstarter launched while the Anchor Make was going on, that it certainly would have been more of a competition between the two. I'm really curious to, yeah, as what 760 said. From what I've seen, the Anchor Make doesn't look like a bad machine at all, and I don't want to say that it does. I haven't used it, I don't know much about it. It kind of looks to me like someone took a Creality, like frame-wise, and then souped it up. So based off of, like, I've seen Crealities print very well, so based off of, if they take that sort of format and then upgrade it, which it seems like they've done, I definitely can see it being a machine that can perform, but it's just, to me, like, it's in a different league, in my opinion, with all of the features, the Core XY, the fully enclosed, like the ability to just print out carbon fiber nylon parts very easily is something I would be shocked to see that printer do. But I'm not saying it can't, but I'm just saying that, I'd be surprised. Can you take the AMS off and print with it, but off to the side? You can. 1 second here, sorry. Let's see, there, okay. Yeah, so which side can I have it off to? I think this side it goes, yeah. So this side, it has enough space to go off to this side. I thought it did. It does. I have stuff here. It would need to be right beside it though, or you might have to extend the Bowden tube, which I don't know how that would play into their unloading sequence. But yes, they do at least state it can go to the side, and based off the wire length, I see no reason why, if I didn't have, yeah, there we go. Yes, it can fit beside it. It's still plugged in the Bowden tube and the cable that's connected to the buffer. And then it's got a glass lid on top, so we need to access it from the top. This just comes off. And I really like that as well, because again, depending on your setup and your racks that you're using, on top might not be ideal, but for me, I have no square footage, and so having it on top, it's just the perfect location for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and go desktop, right? Yep. Okay, so let's load up. It's actually not at all what I wanted to do. 1 second. Cali Dragon. Okay, so here's the STL of it. I'm not sure how. Okay, so if you drag in, so for example, if I drag in the different parts of it, then it'll ask me, load these files as a single object with multiple parts. So that's for multi-material. You say yes if it is, which it is in this case. And then the cool thing is, so like right now it's set up for single extrusion, and according to them, you can run 4 of these sort of at the same time, which I don't know who, I'm sure someone will do it just because why not, or if they have multiple of these. But to add additional filament lines, you just click the little plus button, and then you can choose what material it is, what color it is. So for example, you know, if you want to match the color filament you have on there, like you're like, all right, I got one one black filament, one green, one red. Oh, actually, let's do like a yellow. And then one pink. And then you can click on this little list right here. Well, let's go to advanced too, which adds a lot more features. Click on this little list right here, and this will show you all of the objects on your plate. And so you can choose then based out of the colors you set up there. So like, okay, we want, this is, actually it's a little, oh, okay, it does scroll down. Oh, you can actually rename them too. But so this is for the body. We'll do the body in green. Actually, that's interesting. Let me check something here. Oh, I guess that is the body. Okay, so I just haven't looked at this model in multi-material. So body's green, and then let's do like, let's see, so this is the horns. I'll do the horns in like the purple color. This is the, this doesn't matter. We'll just grab whatever is left, yellow. So that's how you can set multicolor like that. And then it does right now, as you can see, it's auto-generating a prime tower. And with the prime tower, it's optional. So you can go over here to others and then prime tower on or off. And then so it really depends on the purge shoot in the back. So if you didn't see the video, please watch it because it'll cover a lot more than a lot more in a package that I wanted, like it'll cover a lot more in sort of a structured package than I can just spitting off the cuff here. But there is like a back to this machine where it purges and then kicks it out. The chute is what I was calling it. And so you would want a bucket back here to sort of collect things, and you can adjust those by going up here to flushing volumes and based off what you're doing. So the defaults are 280 millimeters between each material. But like, for example, the main issue I was having with the multicolor prints was not the machine's ability to swap colors, it was the purge length. So anytime you switch from like, let's just say black, to any other color, maybe instead of 280, you would want to up that to 400 to make sure that you get a clean purge. So you do have the ability to fine tune the purge based off of the colors it's transitioning to, which is pretty freaking cool. It does need a litter box. Yeah, I put it in the video feed, exactly. It was actually pretty funny. So I didn't know, I didn't really know what was going on with the whole purging situation until I moved the printer and just saw a pile of pellets behind the machine and on my floor. So definitely if you're doing multi-material, you're going to want some kind of a trash bin behind the machine or some kind of setup. Okay, so let's do, let's get this printing here. You know what? Do we want to do, I was only going to do a single color, but now I'm thinking about it. Do we want to do a multicolor? We can. It will take longer, so it might not finish on here. What do you guys want to do? It can either, William, the drawing is for a spool of Polymaker filament. So as far as I know, it's basically any of their PLAs in any color. I think ABSs and PETGs as well. We will start the giveaway at 1 o'clock and I'm going to post something in the chat. So it's just a form where you put in like email, YouTube name, and Discord name. And then 30 minutes later, we will live spin a wheel with all of the names entered in. And then the winner I will contact today after stream with just a small form you have to fill out, and then Polymaker will send the filament out to you. So it's super simple, and it's also, words are tough right now. It's also international. Okay, so everyone's saying multi, so let me go around, to the other side. One second here, let me also get a sip out of this. All right, oops. Okay, so let's load up. The more multi we do, the longer it's going to take. What did I do with the spool that I was just printing with as well? Oh, I see it. I put it on the kitchen table. Of course I did. Okay, so we've already got yellow loaded up. We'll go ahead and load up. We'll load up this one. Let me move the white out of the way because it's not loaded either. It is a two-handed load. There's basically, let me put this in here for a second. There's basically a little latch that's the tension latch, and so you need to push it forward with one finger, and then you can insert it in, and then it grabs it, no problem. Once I load the white one, I can see if I can find a fourth spool. We can do 4 colors if everybody wants. I would just like to do a PLA other than black because I need to get the purging figured out lengthwise. There's a gray. I see like a sort of light gray. We can try that and see how that works. Okay, this is the Bambu Lab one, so we'll do this. This is white. Okay, let me go grab. Sorry, everybody, my face. It's in front of the camera. Let's see. Okay, cool. I've got another polytear right here. Okay, so last one. This is a PT. No, this isn't. This is the ABS from last week. I think I just actually put it in there to hold it for a bit the other day. All right, so let's get. I think it's in there. Should be good. I'm gonna close this up. Okay. All right, so unless they've changed, so an enclosed ERCF in essence. Yeah, hey, Lisa's here. An enclosed does the AMS have a dryer function? It doesn't have a dryer function as far as I can tell. What it does have is 2 slots that you can put desiccant in. I thought that the packets that came with were desiccant, but I think Brian discovered they were some other sort of drying substrate. So, but there are 2 large vented slots underneath it. So you could just put in desiccant that is reusable and then take it out if you want to and dry it. It is also, there's a gasket around the entire outside of it. And then when you clamp this down, it should help to maintain or retain its level of humidity much better than being out in the open. Hey, what's up, NLTMW? Hey, 55s. Been here, but was driving. So surprised you aren't printing cats. I know, I was just talking to my coworker about that, actually. I promised Zerent, which I don't even think is here, that we'd print this, this dragon today. So let me go ahead and, okay, so let's see, in slot 1, let's go desktop. So slot 1, we've got yellow. I like to match it up, because it helps give me an idea of what the final thing will look like. In slot 2, we've got sort of that blue. It looks like that. 3 is white. 3 is white, and 4 is sort of a gray. Well, it is a gray. Okay, and we'll do that. And then we can do Bambu PLA Basic, or they've got some stuff I was messing around with. I think I was running generic PLA for most of it. We'll do that. So this is generic PLA. This is generic PLA. Nope, that's not right. Generic PLA, Bambu, and then this is generic PLA as well. And then let's drag this in one more time. Cali Dragon, yes. Okay, so let's do, I think for the gray, I'll do the horns because I also, I still have not gotten a chance to tune the purging, and the gray is probably the darkest color here. So let's do, here we go, let's go.
Your kitchen is a mess.
Oh, Lisa, you're awesome. 1 second here. Let me switch cams real quick so I can see this. Did you see it, Lisa? Did you see the kitchen? I mean, other than the photo I posted? Lisa, $25. Dinner while your kitchen is a mess. Thank you very much. Yeah, anyone that wasn't here earlier, basically, yesterday during my lunch break, I heard water pouring and came out and saw this. Well, no, that's a lie. I saw water pouring out of the ceiling. The emergency plumber came and was able to push through most of the ceiling to find, trying to find it, and it ended up being upstairs in the unit upstairs. So I'm not sure what the situation looks like in terms of how long construction will take, whether we'll be able to be here or not. I work from home and all of my work is video work, so I can't exactly do much video work with power tools and workers and, you know, So I'm not really sure what this means for us. We're like 90 days away from our lease ending and moving out of state. So once the homeowner comes, if it ends up being a really big construction project, I might ask if there's some way that we can get out of the lease and just move earlier. I don't really know. So everything is a big up in the air right now, but yeah, this is currently what I'm dealing with. Erin was a saint. She came home from work yesterday and helped out as much as she possibly could with it all. So we're just like, you know, what can you do? You can either laugh or cry. So, okay, so let's do the horns in gray. Let me move this down. Okay, so horns are gray. And then we've got what? We got blue. Let's do the, let's see. Scales and spine. Let's do the scales in the blue. Like that. Yeah, that looks so cool. And then we'll do white for the back. Nice. That looks pretty good to me. Ask the landlord for rent back, in my opinion. Yeah, I feel really bad. Like let's get this going and then I'll talk once it's printing. I know everyone's here to check out the machine. The owner of this place though is it's a private like condo owned by a husband and wife, and they're so nice. And so every time there's been an issue, I've really tried to like sort of deal with it, but this is this is out of my control and it's much more extreme than I ever could have anticipated. So I'm curious to see what he says when he sees it. I tried explaining it and sent some photos, but you know, this is 4 colors. So this is white and this is gray. I didn't probably do a very good job. You should be able to see much more of a difference in the actual spool, but it is 4 colors. Okay, so quality, I've just left everything defaults. I don't think I've changed any of this. Seam position smart, ironing is off by default. Strength, no, we can leave 2, do we want 3 walls? Let's do 3 walls. So 3 walls, 4 top, 15% infill is fine. So these are the speeds that they have by default. And I'm actually not sure whether they've updated them with this latest release, but they're pretty damn fast. Like, I mean, the first layer is 50 millimeters a second, but first layer infills at 120 millimeters, and then everything else is like 200 plus, which is just insane. It's time for the giveaway. Okay, cool. Let's do that. So let me get this sliced up really quick here. So let's see, slice. It says it needs support to print, which is not correct. It's probably just the threshold. Okay, and so then for print, we will go here and we will say, okay, so here's where you have the option. Do you want it to do bed leveling, flow calibration, or first layer inspection? This was new, this didn't used to be there. And first layer inspection is where it lays down the first layer, then it goes with the LiDAR and scans it to see if there's imperfections and if it thinks there will be issues. So we're going to remove the first layer inspection and we'll do the bed leveling and flow calibration. I'm fine with that, just to be sure. And then we'll hit send. And they also updated it now where there's a percentage meter. Before it looked like it was just sitting forever and I never knew what was going on. So now there's actually a percentage meter, which is much nicer, sort of for knowing what's going on. Okay. So let's go ahead and do, let's see, let me go back to the side view for a sec because that'll start moving in a moment. Let me go ahead and get the giveaway posted here. Send, link, shorten URL, copy, and paste. I'm going to post a form in the chat right now. It should be there any second, and I'm going to pin it. And I said we were going to draw at 1:30 because I talked more than I thought I would. We'll do it at 1:36. I'm going to end up turning off the automatic, the autofocus in a moment as well because it's going to freak out. It's already freaking out. It's okay, actually. We'll leave it for now, but I will turn it off once it starts printing because it was just disgusting. Yeah, so that discoloration on the print surface absolutely comes off. That's probably from the glue stick that I put down. The adhesion is really, really good on this, like too good. And so they recommend laying down some glue stick. And so, yeah, that's from it peeling off. It absolutely, I put this thing under the sink. I mean, not pouring water, but enough to where I can wipe off the layer of glue stick. And yeah, all of the white that you see on there will come off. This has been the same build sheet that's been on it for the now 3 weeks that I've had it, testing pretty much around the clock. So it's pretty versatile considering the amount of different materials. Like this side I printed PLA, ABS, PTG, and I printed TPU on the side, and this is not the TPU side they recommend, and it did a great job. I'm assuming that the reason they don't recommend it is because the adhesion could probably, it could probably weld to it like it does with build tack, but with glue stick I was able to do it. Do you need to be in the USA? No, you do not. It's international. Anywhere is fine. Okay, so it's purging right now. Let me take a look at the actual slicer. Regarding, so next week's giveaway plan was to start with tearing down the Voron 0.1 to start doing some of the, getting some of the crazy mods or all the mods we're gonna start doing. I won't probably know what the deal is until the next couple of days regarding whether I'll be able to even be here next week or what the plan is. So as far as next week's stream, I will post it on Twitter/Discord when I actually know what's going on, but I won't be scheduling it so early this time just because I don't know. I don't know if you saw that, but there's actually a nozzle cleaning thing in the back too. And then there's also a lever. 1 second there, I'm gonna move it to this screen and the chat, and then I'm gonna go around the other side again so I can make sure everything's in focus. Yeah, you can say no and still enter. 1 second, everybody. Okay, Red Bull's gone. Water is... yeah, coming around. Okay, so let's bring this... I actually don't really want it to focus on anything in particular right now because it's going to be doing the whole leveling sequence. Okay, so if I turn it to manual focus. Okay, it's on manual now, which I think that's okay. And then once it starts printing, I'll get the print in focus. Hey, what's going on, Mateo? Dan, maybe ping the giveaway link. Wait, can I ping? How do you do that? Can you ping something that's posted? Go to channel, unpin. Wait, oh, you meant pin, right? It should be pinned. Do you guys not see? There should be a giveaway link pinned. Hope not having Discord disqualifies. I can never seem to get it to work. No, it doesn't. Before it was a little bit more important that you had Discord, but as long as you've got an email and you use your YouTube name, then you're good to go. If it should let you submit. If it doesn't let you submit, just put like Discord placeholder or something like that. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought I already pinged it. Knowing me, I could have goofed, but thank you for confirming. So one thing I also would like to see, which I guess it's not that big of a deal, but so for example, like the Prusa MK3S Plus by default auto levels before each print, and I have it running, because when I built my Prusa MK3S Plus, that's a mouthful, there was some definite like skewing in the bed, and so I have it running, I think, a 7x7 grid, but it's super, super quick. I would love to see the option to run a 3x3 instead of a 6x6 if you want to, because it allows you to turn off the bed leveling like before each print if you don't want it. I would love to also have an option of, hey, just run a 3x3, like we don't need a 6x6, because it is very rigid. Like there are 3 lead screws on this thing. They're not all independently driven. I can't tilt the machine right now because of the, well, it's not super heavy, but I just can't tilt it. I won't be able to get it on camera very well, but there's basically a belt that ties all 3 together. Oh, cool. So now what it's doing is it's scanning the area that it's going to be printing. You know what? I think it's probably because there's a slight, I felt the other day when I pushed right there on the sticker sheet side of it, and I think that because that's primarily where I've ran all the prints, I always center them, that it's starting to slowly bubble, like ever so slightly, but I mean, it's very minimal, that it usually calls out that, hey, like there's an issue with this section. It does let you bypass it though, which I always do, and let it print. It's been fine, but I think that just yesterday, actually, I was pushing on it and I noticed that. I put NA for Discord. That's fine. Yeah, no worries. Everybody like the smash button and show your support. Yeah, please hit the like button. Is there a purge tower? You have the option to do purge tower or bucket or both. I have just sort of let it do what it does, which I don't know sort of what. Sometimes it seems like it includes it, other times it does not. I would much rather opt for, I think, the bucket in the back, unless the multicolor is going to be absolutely massive and you don't have like a bucket space for it. But yeah, I like the bucket in the back. I do. Still waiting for my input shaper tool. Oh, Matrix, did you win it from the 1,000 subscriber stream? Man, if so, then it has been a long time. I see a little strand of filament stuck on the back of the hot end. I'm tempted to like pinch it, but we'll see if it comes off. Yeah, the last one. That's crazy. I shipped those out probably 2 to 3 weeks ago, I think now. Will there be a possibility to color different areas of the model in the slice, like with the Prusa MMU? Oh, you mean like paint, multi-material painting, I think is what it's called? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, so the workers are definitely starting upstairs again, so we will keep our fingers crossed that we're still able to stream. No, I don't think, I can check in a second. I haven't seen any obvious painting in there. I swore that when I initially, after having this for a few days, I put together a long list of questions that I had just based off initial impressions, and it looked like they had done something kind of neat, like some sort of painting, but I don't think there's a painting functionality baked in right now. I certainly haven't seen it. I may need to design a toilet for this printer. Yeah, Brian, we were joking around calling it like it's like kind of like the butt of the printer. Oh, they said on one of the streams painting would be supported. Okay. Yeah, I only tried to focus on things that were accessible or available to me right now, because not that I don't, oh, maybe it'll get rid of it. Come on, piece, fall off. Yes, I got it. Not that I don't think that they will do what they say they're going to do, but I just don't want to, I didn't want to go based off of, you know, well, it should do this or it might do this. I just wanted to go based off like, this is what I have. And then I mentioned like Spaghetti Detective saying that like, it's not there, I can't test it out right now. Yeah, the filament strand came off. It was driving me crazy as well. I'm curious to see if that fan kicks on, the big auxiliary fan. Oh, it looks like it still is scanning the first layer. Whoa. That was weird. It looked like it did a tilt. Oh, what was I gonna say? I wasn't able to do multiple parts that were different colors. Yeah, I was able to do that too. So that's really cool, is that you can print in sequence where, oh, sorry guys. I just realized that let's go autofocus. Let's go like this. Nope, like that. And let's go back to manual focus. And hopefully that'll work. Hopefully that's good enough. And we'll see once it starts printing. So yeah, I was able to print out a Lucky Cat in the front of the build plate in yellow, then have it purge, or basically unload that spool, load the second spool, and print it in a completely different color. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that can allow you to, like, let's say you need to print out some parts for like Voron accent parts, and you need a couple of them to be in black and a couple to be in red. Granted, you're limited to the tool head area, so you can't do a ton of parts, but it is still kind of cool if you're like, hey, print these two in black ABS on this side, and then go to the other side and print them in red ABS. Curious to see what it says. It looks like a pretty damn good first layer to me. Yeah, hot end's heating up again. There we go. So it's done with the scanning. It looks like it's in pretty good focus, right, guys? Yeah, it looks good to me. Yeah, it's checking the first layer. Got my fashionably late thing going on again. How is everybody? We're doing good, DC. You might hear some noise soon. Actually, question for everybody. How does the mic sound? Because I added a noise filter. Focus is fine, cool. Yeah, I thought he turned it off though. I did turn it off. I know that in the slicer, when I got the slicer, there was a note about firmware, so it might actually require a firmware update for it to actually listen to it. Okay, so now it's done with yellow. It's going to go to the back, unload the yellow. It does sound a little bit distorted. Okay, well, hopefully, I'm okay with a little bit distorted. The main thing is once they start drilling into her floor upstairs, I want to be audible. That's my main concern. Oh, you can't hear the printer? Wow, yeah, it is working very well then. I probably should have ran this a long time ago. So it's purging right now. You can see the yellow still in the back. Oh, they're starting the tools up. Okay, so you can see it transitioning now to the sort of cyan a little bit. I know it's not in focus, but I don't want to change the focus because it's like dead center on the print and I want it to be there primarily. So basically it's going to leave the filament in the purge bucket, if I remember correctly. It's going to clean the nozzle on the little nozzle wiper, right there, nozzle wiper. And then it's going to do the printing, like in the next color. That's all it did. And now it's going to hit that. Once it hits that little latch, it just basically shot out the strand of filament in the back, which I can show you guys. This is why this is also the reason why I haven't been running a lot of 4-color things. It just takes so long. And I don't really know how you can speed it up. Like two colors would definitely be much quicker because if you have layers with 4 colors on it, it's literally doing this swap 4 times in one layer. But yeah, this is basically what it spit out the back. I know it won't focus because of the way I have it set up, but the purge, basically little 3D printing poops. Little 3D printing turds. So yeah, you want a bucket. You want some kind of a bucket if you're running these. The thing I do like a lot about these though, is that it's ejecting them out of the printer completely, so you don't have to worry or have a risk of them falling onto your build plate. Or again, with the purge tower, depending on what you're printing, you're losing real estate on your build surface because of that purge tower. So I think it's a pretty sweet solution, and it seems implemented very, very well. Yeah, this is where IDEX is definitely nice. I didn't even notice the difference and just thought the printer was quiet. No, it's not quiet. I'm very happy. I'll have to listen to this stream afterwards myself to hear how it sounds. That's really awesome to know that I can stream in a loud environment and still have it be fine. Okay, so now it's unloading the yellow. Let's take a look. Let me see here. If you have not, we are running the giveaway for another, let's see, 14 minutes. At 1:36, we will draw a winner for the Spool of Polymaker filament. International shipping is included. Or is part of it is included. Yes, international is included. Does it tell you how much filament is wasted in the print? That's a great question. Let me check. How loud is it compared to the MK3S? Definitely louder than the MK3S. So I run my MK3S not on stealth mode, and it's louder than the not on stealth mode. It's definitely not a quiet machine. Like there's and especially multi-material, the sound of the tool head hitting the little lever, you'll hear the metal hitting. Like it's not quiet. Like if your number one goal is silence, I would certainly say that it's probably not the machine, but it's definitely in my mind like performance, like speed, and like throwing a bunch of things at it. But yeah, silence, I would not describe it as a quiet printer. Let's see. Okay, sorry, my brain. Okay, so I said we were going to check Oh, we can also do this. So let's go really quickly over to here. Let's see if this works. Hey, webcam is working. And the quality of the webcam is actually pretty, oh, there it's drifting off. But the quality of the webcam has been pretty damn impressive. I have noticed this little thing going on in the last like day or so here, which I don't know if it's a hardware thing or not. It's definitely unfortunate, but the quality of the webcam prior to it doing this was really, really impressive. I'll actually have to ask about that because that looks like, before it was just a tiny little bit in the corner, now it looks like maybe a cable's loose or something like that. Giveaway is for a spool of material. A spool of filament, PLA, ABS, PETG from Polymaker. You can choose the color as well as the type of material, like everything. Okay, so let's see if I go under preview. I don't know if it does. Joseph says it's a software thing. Okay. Yeah, I didn't notice it. I did not notice it prior. Like the webcam worked perfect. Well, the webcam didn't work at all for me, and then we got it working perfectly. And then I just started noticing that maybe in the last 48 hours or so. And that's actually the worst I've seen it, with it being like the bottom chunk of it. So we'll see. I'll definitely send them a screenshot of it later on. So I don't see like a how much material is being used. I'm assuming that this is clearly not including that, because there's no way it's only using 2 grams of yellow with the amount that it's going to be purged. Color scheme, display, line type. Unless there's somewhere else. Yeah, it would be nice if they basically just took this, right? So like they took your flushing volumes, and when you sliced it, it calculated the exact number of tool changes required and then just multiplied it. So that length by the number of tool changes for each one. Because especially if you're running low on materials, I can definitely see that being a thing where you're like, I don't know if I have enough, and that would at least help you calculate it. So that's definitely something that I think would be cool to add. I'm also curious to see, so we're not going to get to the 3rd filament color for quite a while. It looks like on layer, layer 26. Oh man, thank you, Derek. Derek's doing a great job. Is that, I don't know, I think it's euros. Thank you very much for the 19.99. Did you answer me earlier, Derek? Because I think you were answering some questions specific about the machine. Are you on the team at Bambu, or have you just been sort of doing some research on it? Thank you for the donation. Yeah, so we won't see the 3rd color come into play until layer 20. What did I just say? Layer 26. And if I go over to printer and monitor, they could speed up multicolor printing on layer change if they start to print with the last color printed on the previous layer, rather than always going to spool 1. Wait, they could speed up multicolor printing on layer change if they start to print with the last color printed. Interesting. They did tell me that one of their goals is to also have some sort of a purge to infill. I didn't mention that in the actual video I did on it because it's not there now, and there was also so many other things that I wanted to cover. And my primary focus, which I told them months ago when they talked about this machine, is I want to focus on what's there in front of me. I don't want to talk about like theoretical or this should be coming or that should be coming. I mentioned like, you know, that they had talked about the spaghetti detective style AI, but they did mention to me that one of their goals in the slicer is to have some sort of purge to infill option at least, which would be nice. I mean, again, the goal is to no, just a curious engineer. And okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much, Derek, for helping answer questions and also for the donation. Hey, what's going on, Christy David? 3D Musketeers. Hey, I really want to try one of these out. They look amazing. I want to dive into the motion system because wow, it's insane. So the extruder is fairly loud when it changes. Noise is something that's so difficult for me. Like I bought an app on my phone that was a fairly expensive audio app where I can record audio and it basically outputs the decibels. And so I was thinking it would be cool to start having a 3D printer test or reviews, like a set distance away from the machine where I place it. I run like the exact same print and I output it. And it even creates a nice little PDF graph. And I was like, this is like beautiful. But I have not gotten there yet. One, I don't know what model I want to do. And two, like, because things move around so much here, like I don't have a controlled environment, I guess, is the main thing I'm stating. So it would be really nice to have that when we have more of a set area for recording. Oh, did something happen with the audio? Would you buy this over the Prusa XL? So I can't answer that because I haven't used the Prusa XL. So much of it is still really unknown to me, right? Like, I saw the initial release, I've seen some of the specs. I have pre-ordered it, not a sponsored thing. Like, I right now have it pre-ordered for I think the 2 head, but I am probably going to get the 5 head because I'm really curious to see what it's like, what it's all about, because Prusa has expanded a ton over the years, and going from a MK3, like the MK3S Plus to the Prusa Mini, to me it seems sort of like a lateral move, like a sidestep. Like it's not such a crazy endeavor to make a slightly smaller cantilever style machine. This is completely different. So I'm really curious to see how well it works and all that. And I do think, so I don't see the Prusa XL being faster than this. I don't. If it is, I'd be blown away. The main things I think I see from the Prusa XL might be a bit more experimental aspect of it, if that makes sense. What I mean by that is, like, right now, like, this all goes through one head or one nozzle. So you do have that as a limitation. Maybe not a big limitation, but it's definitely a limitation. While on the Prusa, I don't know, again, I don't know details fully on how it all work, but in my mind, you should be able to have like a 0.2, a 0.8, a 0.6 to like do different things with it. Also, like, the tool changing aspect does introduce some additional things that you just can't do with a purge system. So I don't know. The one thing I will say though is, like, the price difference is pretty massive, which is certainly something to take into consideration, right? Like, I think it's am I incorrect in stating, I think it's a 5 tool head maximum, which is $3,000, while they're saying that the retail on this with the top will be $1,500. If they're able to stick with that, then it's basically 2 of these or 1 Prusa XL. So I can't answer that. It's gonna be like different, probably for different people. I don't know, I can't answer that. If I have the Prusa XL and I can play around with it for a month, like then maybe I'd be able to kind of sort of define the differences between the two. But right now, and I don't have experience with tool changers, the closest I have experience with is an IDEX machine. So I just don't know what their whole ecosystem is going to look like and how it's all going to work. So the answer is, I don't know. We will see. I don't know. Sorry. You already have a 4 head. No need for 5 head. Nothing to do with perch infill. Nothing. Every layer. Oh crap. What did I miss? Could print. Building doesn't bother me. It might be fun. This versus a Voron 2.0, or which do you like more? So another example of me not having experience with it, Grief. Like, so to me, this is very different than a Voron, and I didn't really dive heavily into it, but like, the reason why I build the Vorons are as much the building journey as it is the final printer. Also, 5-minute warning, if you have not entered into the filament giveaway, do that. It is the pinned form in the chat, and then we'll be drawing a spool of material. So definitely enter in. Polymaker is sponsoring it, and it is global. So, okay, backtracking. So part of the Voron thing for me is like the whole ecosystem encompassing it, the community, the modding of it. Like, I like the full package, and this will not replace that for me. If, like, in my head I want to build a 2.4, after having this, I still absolutely want to build a 2.4. It's just so different, right? Like, this is what it is. It's set for better or for worse, and I think that it has so much good, and it's incredibly impressive. And I think that The 2.4, I don't have a 2.4, and so I'm just speaking more on Vorons in general. You asked about 2.4, I don't have one to compare apples to apples. I think it's quite different, and I think that most of the people that want to build Vorons, I don't think they'll get this instead. Maybe some will, possibly. I really see this being like for those that want the speed and sort of capabilities of a Voron without having to actually spend all of the hours and time sourcing, buying, and building one and all the calibration, because this just, I haven't done anything to it, like other than hit print or touch a random button here or there, it just has done the rest. So I still absolutely will want both. I might want some of these for cranking out really quick parts, or if I decide to do some sort of print farm, having the same machine and same specs across all of them makes it really easy to slice and manage. But yeah, it's not going to replace or change how I feel about Voron. Like, I think Voron's amazing. Voron's fully open source, which is a huge difference compared to this as well. So yeah, I can't make that decision for you though. It really depends on what your end goal is. And you know, like you can't customize this like you can the Voron. They both have really great things. I just think they're so different. Like, if I had to describe this in like terms of sort of what exists that everyone understands, is like, this to me feels a lot like Apple's ecosystem, and the Voron feels a lot more like Android's ecosystem to me. And I'm an Apple user. I also have a Windows computer, but I'm still fine with proprietary stuff if it all works and integrates really well together, which is one of the reasons why, like with video creation and all of the social media stuff I do, like I really love Apple's system. So that's kind of how I see the two. There will be an audience for both, and I think that that's perfectly fine. That was a bit of a rant. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, totally different target audience. I am sweating up an absolute storm right now. Okay. It's kind of cool too, from the computer, you can I can turn off the lamp. I can turn on the lamp. I can adjust cooling on it as well. Oh, actually, I wanted to check to see if the big fan is spinning down below. It is, sweet. So I didn't notice it, but based off of my video that I created, and I said that, I don't know where the multi-material prints are I did on this because everything got moved, but some of the multi-material prints, you can see them in the video, basically they did not do overhangs well at all. And I thought it was primarily due to the temperature that they were printing at, because everything on this print's hot. Like, the default PLA temp is 230 because of the sheer speed it's going at. And because it was printing slower for the multi-material, I was thinking, okay, it just can't cool quick enough. Well, I guess what I didn't realize while I was printing with it is that there was some sort of a bug, if you will, where after the first layer, the main huge fan on the side was kicking off on multi-material prints. So with this update, it now is not. So I'm curious to see how the overhangs look. They should look substantially better. It was only for multi-material. I never had that happen with single, but I guess they said something to do with the filament changes was triggering it to turn off, and now it's still on after, you know, this many layers. So it seems like that's fixed, which is awesome. Would you buy this had you not been sent one? Yes. Yes, I absolutely would. I mean, one, like, obviously I love 3D printing, and having been like, so coming from the hobbyist side of things, like when I got my first 3D printer, I was working at PetSmart making, like, I think minimum wage at the time. And like, that's sort of like the angle of that's sort of the market of 3D printing I was interested in, because that's what was affordable. Like, everything above that was just out of my range. I couldn't afford any of that. And that's what I worked with for the first like 3 years of 3D printing, maybe 4 years. And then I started working at Matter Hackers back in 2018, and that's when I got exposed to like the next like tier, if you will, of prosumer machines that were anywhere from $1,000 to, let's say, just south of $10,000. And I got to play around with a ton of those machines, like whenever I wanted to, really, in the lab or in the office when I was working there. And yes, there were some cool things, and some of them definitely did some things that the more budget machines I had at the time couldn't do. But like, I still felt that a lot of them, if I modded them, that they could reach close to certain tiers of what these machines could hit. This machine, and again, it is a Kickstarter, and I said that, like, I'm not telling anyone they have to back it. If you're the person that's cautious and you want to wait till it's available on the shelves, like, or on the shelf, and see like what comes of it, I totally get it, and I think that's a respectable decision. But the thing I will say is that out of all of the leaps I've seen from 2014 to 2022 in 3D printing and in this space, this machine encompasses the biggest leap forward in technology. And I really hope that they are able to meet the demand of people that want this unit and really continue to adapt and evolve from this really solid place that it's at right now. But yes, if there was a way for me to know that, like, see this machine and say, like, this is what you're getting, yeah, I would say that for the price point, there's no other machine in that price point that I think I could consider, that I would even consider. So the exception would be like a Voron 2.4, which I still really want and still want to get and build. But for a full machine, I don't know what else I can even really compare it to as far as a out of the box experience. So it's really tough, like, it's really tough to sort of show it in video. I did my best to sort of really explain it and show the full experience that I had, but like until you actually use it or see it in front of you, it's really tough to explain. But just, I've used multi-material, I've used palettes, and I'm not saying that palettes are bad. They're one of the originals and they've had a lot of evolution, but this is probably the best multi-material station, multi-setup station I've ever used. As far as like, I've done no calibrating with it, no calibration prints, no none of that. It just did it all. So I am still very puzzled as to how they were able to do all of this. I know they told me they started development in like 2020-ish, so it's not like it was an overnight thing. I still though, like, considering companies that have been in the space for like a decade that still don't have anything that I think is close to this, I'm still very puzzled at how they were able to put all this together in one box. So yeah, I think that the price point is like right at the sweet spot of being like still justifiable for hobbyists. The banging has started. Can you guys hear that? I'm sure you can. Let me know if it gets to the point where it's just not feasible to continue. I think it's at a price point where it's still gonna be feasible for a lot of hobbyists. Maybe not as a first printer, but as a second, like, you know, you like 3D printing, you're looking for the next thing. But majorly for like print farms and like engineering firms or schools and stuff like that, I really see it being really that. Yes, it purges out the back. Currently, I don't have a bucket here because I just threw the printer on here. We're gonna also, yeah, they're banging. You guys can hear that, right? It's getting louder. Let me know if it gets really, really bad, because if it does, then again, we can end the stream. You guys have to let me know. You know, if it's not enjoyable for anybody anymore, then we'll end it. But this is currently what's on my desk. The little purge pellets from it changing colors. I know it's not in focus, but I'm leaving that in focus because the manual focus on this is a little bit tough to navigate. But yeah, you'll want, if you're not using the purge tower and you're using these little purge pellets, you'll definitely want like a bin or something behind your printer because the pellets start to add up very, very quickly. And this might be overkill. Like, for example, this purge length, which the default is right now, the default right now on the purge pellets is 280 millimeters, which is what, just north of or just south of a foot, between each purge, which is plenty for these colors, but for black it wasn't enough. So you might be able to, like, if you really just spend some time and do some calibration prints, decide like, hey, most colors actually can be purged. That's getting really loud. Be purged in like half of the. This is what I was fearful of. Okay, let's hear the banging, but it sounds like someone that you have trapped in the closet trying to get out. Okay, it's super loud for me. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw my other headphone on so that way it's not as aggressive for me, because it's very loud here for me. And then we will do our best. Why is this headphone? There we go. Okay, now I can't hear as much. I think they gained a lot from their DJI drone experience in terms of writing. Yeah, when I talked to them, they said that like the main guys are like these crazy PhDs and like all sorts of words that don't mean a whole lot to me, but basically like the study of like motion and airflow and stuff like that, which makes sense for the way that their drones work, but it's pretty crazy. Okay, so now I have like loud music going on. So what's being printed? We are printing out the Cali Dragon is what it's called by McIbeer. I promised Zarent, who isn't here, I don't think, that we would be printing this out today. So I didn't know we were gonna do it in multicolor, but hey, it's like a perfect size little print. Time estimation for this is actually pretty long because it's a 4-color print and the purging, it's 4 hours and 37 minutes. It's a long one. Okay, let's put you guys back over here. We are ending the. I don't even know if I'll be able to think. Okay, we're gonna end the giveaway now and draw to see who won a spool of Polymaker filament. So if you have not gotten in, we are doing that right now. How accurate is the time estimation? It's been pretty damn accurate, but I don't know. You know what? I think that they're maybe checking for damage. Like they're maybe using a mallet to hit certain areas and see if the mallet goes through upstairs. The time estimation has been really good for single extrusion prints. I haven't checked it for multi because multicolor prints in general have been quite long. I haven't for the most part been around. I've kind of like started them off and then went to sleep and then they're done in the morning. Okay, so we have 105 entries, which is awesome. I'm going to grab these. I'm so thankful that we got an hour and a half of silence to stream before this happened. I don't know if I would have been able to. Okay, so we have 100 entries, it says, but according to this, there's 100 and... Now there's 107. We got some more people. Hold on a second here. Let me refresh this and see if it pulls them all. Yeah, why does other... Maybe you can only... You know what? I bet you once it gets over 100, it starts to... Let's see, how am I gonna do this? Bear with me, everybody. Okay, so what I'm going to do... It's gonna take me a couple minutes to actually delete any blank rows. I guess when it gets over 100, I can't use the same normal method that I normally do. I actually have to go to a spreadsheet, so. And there's a lot of, curious to see what upstairs is going to look like after. She said yesterday that they only had to cut out a small little part of her floor, but based off the sounds I've heard today, like, I wonder if she has a floor at all upstairs. Use the roll command and take that number. No, we're gonna do the spinning wheel, which I really like, but I don't, like, I want everyone to be included that entered. We're getting closer. I'm getting much closer. Delete rows. Actually, I am not in. And for these last 8 people, I'm actually not entirely sure how we're gonna be able to do this. I wonder if I can do this. Let me check one last thing. Let's see if I go sort. Okay, so sort is at 106 is the way to open it. Okay, sweet. No, I think I got it. I'm pretty sure I've got this. No, there's missing people. Blows. Yeah, I don't know. Why does it go to the front left? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know if it's an alignment thing or what the deal is. Man, for this week, it might just have to be the first 100 people, which I'm sorry to everyone that didn't, but I don't really know what to do at this point. Select response destination, print all responses, download responses? Wait, I might have just gotten it. I had a system in place for this, for the giveaways, and then it changed once we, okay, let's see if I go to my Google Drive. Always adapting. Desktop. And what about giveaway form? Replace existing file, upload. Okay. Open with Google Sheets. Come on, everybody, fingers crossed. Okay. Come on, everybody. Yes, we're good, we got it. Yes! Yes, okay. All right. Okay, this is everybody. This is 108 people, so whoever snuck in, you got lucky that the system didn't work. All right, everyone. Let's go over to desktop. I'm gonna take a sip of water and put my headphone back in. Hey, what's going on, Andre? It has been just such a crazy 24 hours here. Oh man, I'm super thankful that we're able to make the stream happen though. And I'm really appreciative of everyone that's hung out. Oh yeah, that's right, G-Funny, shuffle. Okay, so there's 108 people. We're shuffling. And it's for a spool of Polymaker filament. Shipping is international. It should be able to be, as far as I know, really any of their PLAs, ABSs, or PETGs. The exception might be like carbon fiber of it, like that. Those are the like super premium filaments, but any standard as far as like you can pick your hex code or any of that stuff. And oh wow, we're already on the third color then. We're moving quicker than the speed. I wonder if the speeds aren't accurate then. Anyways, so later on today, whoever wins, I will contact you with basically just a simple form. You'll fill it out with your shipping address, the color you want, and the material you want, and then Polymaker will ship it to you wherever you are. So huge thank you to Polymaker. They are amazing, and we're actually almost printing with all Polymaker on this right now. Anyways, all right, good luck, everybody. We'll do three more shuffles. All right, 3, 2, 1, and good luck. Here we go. Edwin sorry, the text threw me off. Edwin Ringersma, are you here? If you are here, please let me know in the chat. We currently have it set up where like you do have to be present, which is why I try to do the giveaway in like a 30-minute window. It doesn't always happen that way. Oh, he's here, sick. Okay, sweet, so you're good to go. I will shoot you an email then later on today or Discord. Lately I've been doing email, but if you don't respond back, then I can try the other one. So you'll get an email from me later on today. Huge thank you to Polymaker for making this possible. They started sponsoring our streams 3 weeks ago, and so every single week we have a spool to give away, and it just adds like a sort of fun little segment of the show or the stream. It's a show, I guess. We don't have, yeah, it's a show. So yeah, I'm really, really thankful for having them and their willingness to do that. So I guess while we are still streaming, I mean, Aaron bought us these two yesterday because we couldn't use water. So we have like huge Gatorades. Oh yeah, Alien's not here today, huh? I haven't seen, the chat's been pretty crazy today, so I haven't been able to keep up, and I'm sorry to any questions or comments that I missed. So this print is going to be running for the remainder of the stream. And I guess one of my concerns is too, when the homeowner comes, I'll probably have to move this cart out of the middle of the living room. So hopefully we can get it to finish and I can post it. Regardless of what happens, I will post it on Twitter and Discord later on when it's done. The question I have for everybody is there anything specific anyone wants to check out while we're still streaming? Taking a shower with Gatorade. Oh, yeah, what's the actual footprint? So we're going to go with metric. Nope, we're going to go with imperial because I don't have anything large enough to use. So front to back, we are looking at just south of like 16 inches, but including the power cable, let's extend it a bit more. With the power cable, we're looking at roughly just north of 18 inches. And there's also a spool holder on the back. If you don't have the AMS or you're not using the AMS, that is going to increase your depth a little bit. I would say adding an extra 2 inches onto it. If you don't use the AMS. I have it on there because they don't recommend using TPU with AMS, and I wanted to print TPU. You actually could just use something like a filament dryer off to the side or some kind of a side spool holder to load into the back if you wanted to, but I just went with that. What else? Oh yeah, front to back. So front to back, no, we just did Okay, so top to bottom without the AMS is just under 18 inches. With the AMS, you're looking at roughly 27 inches, but you will need more space to open it completely. So I can do, let's see. So at its peak, you're looking at just south of, just south of 33 inches for the space to open it. And then I guess the last thing would be width, right? That's the one we're missing. Width of this is roughly, I'm gonna say 16 inches. It's not really, I mean, it's a bit south of that, but I'd rather give you an extra ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch and make sure you have enough space. Hopefully that works. How about the multicolor bunny cat? No. Maybe for Halloween or something. That thing is terrifying. Dan, what color ABS should I use on the bonsai? I have black and green. Okay, so which color should you use out of black or green? Can you do accent colors? Because I personally like with the Voron switch wire, it's pretty much all black, but then there's a couple parts printed in green that really pop. It would basically be the same colors as the switch wire that I just built. I like the idea of like black for the majority of it, and then maybe like tool head parts or the hot end parts to go with green to make it kind of stand out. He confirmed it already that someone printed it slower and it just came out extremely great. So slower seems to work better on quality. Yeah, I believe it. It was Brian Vines who I should hopefully have a video at some point. I know he's been playing around with one. I think him and Jim from Edge of Tech were the earliest people that got them as well. And so I talked to them a little bit about certain things. I mean, we were all really excited about the machines when they showed up because, you know, the specs that I saw or we saw in the email compared to seeing it in front of you, like there's no, I also, like I said in the intro of the last video, I was really skeptical about the specs. When I saw all the things that they mentioned, I was like, okay, sure, it can do all of those things. It wasn't until actually I saw it, you know, in front of me in that first bench he printed where I was like, oh my God, like, what is this thing? How loud is it? Could it be used in the same room as your home office? I would say no. Shannon, being like completely honest, it depends on, I mean, everyone's noise tolerances are different. I've been around 3D printers for so long that like the early days of 3D printing before any of the TMC drivers, they were all in my bedroom. And so I had no problem sleeping with 3 of them right next to me. For me, it's fine, but it is not a quiet printer. And if you are used to quiet printers, or if you're someone that's sensitive to noise, it's loud. The fan on the side's loud when it's moving large volumes of air, and definitely the multi-material and hitting the metal switch in the back is quite loud. You can slow it down, which I have no doubt will help with that, but I'm not putting this in category of quiet machine. I would not say it's a quiet machine, no. 39, okay, cool. Thomas posted the size of the footprint of it in millimeters. Have you seen any Z banding? I have not seen any Z banding at all. I don't actually, most of the prints got moved. I don't know where they are. So yesterday, I'll do a quick pan to it again, but yesterday when that happened in the kitchen, we panicked because there's actually, I don't know if, can we look up at the ceiling? No, it doesn't go that high up. So the ceiling above where I typically record started to show, that's not what I wanted either, started to show swelling from water. And so I panicked thinking that we were going to have it burst through here, which is where all the printers were or are in the machine stuff. So everything got thrown into tubs and buckets and moved. Like most of the kitchen, most of the printers are on the kitchen table over here now. And things are a mess. So I don't know where the bucket of printed parts that I had out were. This is the only one that I, like right before stream I was looking for. And this is the only one I found right before stream. And this is, God, it's gonna be hard to show this. Let me see if I go like this. Let's try overhead again. So this is carbon fiber nylon printed at quick speeds. I guess there is some form of patterning in the Z-axis, but I don't believe it's actually due to the Z. Oh, you can really see in the light, I guess, at that certain angle. Come on. I thought that this though, like, I mean, if you look at it, I thought it was a really clean part. I mean, this was printed at insane speeds. So yeah, I guess if you have the lighting hit it from a pretty harsh angle, you can see some ripples. But again, this was printed at like 200 and, what was it? The default speeds on here were inner wall 300 millimeters a second, infill 270 millimeters a second, outer wall 200, and at 10,000 acceleration set to 10,000. So I think that a lot of it is just the sheer speed that it was whipping around at. But yeah, I haven't noticed on the other prints, I'm bummed I don't know where the PLA prints are, any form of banding. I don't see anything on this Benchy. Again, this Benchy was printed super quick on the stream earlier in 17 minutes. The only imperfections I really see that are like obvious are on the bow, which again is just from how freaking fast it was going. Yeah, I don't think it's Z-banding. I haven't noticed any Z-banding issues. I would have called them out in the video. The print quality to me was pretty damn impressive. Oh, sorry. I realized this is not the most exciting. Top tip: if you have water showing and there's a sink under the damage, stab a small hole with a screwdriver to drain it. It mitigates the damage by a lot. Yeah. So when this happened, after I ran upstairs, because I thought initially like the upstairs lady that lives up there, her place is flooded, and so I ran upstairs, but then I realized she has no doorbell and they were cutting trees out front. So it was really aggressive, and I was like, she's not gonna be able to hear me. So then, luckily I have her number. Luckily I have her number, so I called her and just was like, hey, is it flooded upstairs? And that's when she told me, she's like, no, everything's fine. And she looked around, didn't see any water. And so that's when I called the landlord and the house owner, property owner. And he was the first one that said, hey, if you've got like a nail or something, poke it through. But the issue is though, like, I didn't see it or notice it until I woke, well, I was taking a break, I wasn't sleeping, I was watching a video on my phone until I heard the water pouring. So by the time I got here and I actually went up to like push something, my hand just like went through a wet ceiling. Like it was already that far gone. There was a second big bubble forming, and when the plumber came, he did take the tip of his knife and stab it through, and that drained out a lot more as well. But yeah, I've never experienced it before. We've had water issues at our previous places, but not to this extent. This is far surpasses anything I've ever experienced. Already, I'll do all the moving parts in green. I think that'll look awesome, Sam. The black on green contrast is sick. No. That hole wasn't, this hole isn't from me. This hole is from the plumber. When the plumber came, he called like the HOA to get permission, and then I called the property owner and said, hey, these guys are about to cut, like they have a saw, they're gonna cut in the roof, is that okay? Because they're looking for the source, and he said, yeah, that's fine. And the plumber, I let the plumber talk to me, he said, yeah, the ceiling is gonna have to come out anyway, so we need to get in there. So, What do you think is going to happen to other companies that makes machines in the same price range after this is released? So, having used Ultimaker's S3 and Ultimaker's S5, which is more than this, and their material station, which is $3,000 compared to what this is going to, if they're able to meet the demand of what the demand is for these machines, and if they're able to keep evolving the slicer and all the settings, I don't see how in the hell all these other companies are gonna be able to compete. Like, I already felt for a while that like Creality and a lot of the other inexpensive machines, because like, for example, like I think you said Ultimaker, yeah, Prusa I still think will be fine, because there's still that whole like, you know, off-the-shelf components people like to be able to use, easily accessible parts, open source, the support, like there's still a lot. Like I don't, like, do I think some people will get this instead of one of their machines, like when we're talking about the XL, like that tier? Yeah, I really do. But I don't think, I do think that Prusa needs to, like, man, there's so much to say. I've been using the MK3S Plus for like the last 6 months and I love it. But there's no denying that the hardware on it could use a serious refresh. And I do think that they could use a refresh on their, you know, $1,000, the MK3S Plus range of machine, but I still see those as sort of different category. It's sort of like how I kind of described the difference between like a Voron and this. But regarding like Ultimaker, I don't know how, I would love to be in the sales room with this fully done and the Ultimaker, at least in its current state, and see how someone sells it at 3-4 times 1,500, yeah, at roughly 3 to 4 times the cost. I would be very curious. Because I already think that a lot of the other 3D printers that have come out, because Ultimaker is sort of like an OG. Their first one was laser cut out of wood, and they have the benefit of being like first to market in a sense for the desktop space. And I've already felt that as the years have progressed, their share of the market's gotten less and less, and they they've kind of almost fully gone away from hobbyist, in my opinion, and they're more education, prosumer, enterprise, and they just joined forces with MakerBot. So I just kind of see them maybe like even more so getting away from this segment and getting more into the next tier of more expensive machines. So yeah, I don't know though, only time will tell. Hey, Aaron's here. How are the tolerances? The tolerances have been super impressive. I need to do some more, I don't think I've done actual like measuring with calipers, but I have run some print in place models like the fidget spinner, and I know that a lot of people have ran sort of print in place items, which I know doesn't really state exactly the level of tolerances. I don't know what exactly they are, but like those are difficult to print, and if you don't have a machine that's at least printing with fairly tight tolerances, they will sort of bond or weld to each other. So I can do, I can run a tolerance test. I anticipate it would be kind of interesting to see if I drop it down to like normal speeds, what the tolerances are of like a 2020 cube. And then if I raise it to like really high speeds or what the speeds are currently, what that would be. But from what I'm seeing and what I've experienced with the prints, like I would say it's able to hit impressive levels of tolerances. I was able to do threads on it too, which is something I've had issues with on machines going much slower. Hey, what's going on, Bruno? Aaron, I don't know if you're still watching the stream, but if you are, there's a lot of banging going on upstairs. We got an hour of silence while they were on lunch, which was amazing, but they've been banging on the floor. So luckily this, apparently the noise cancellation I added is helping a lot, but I'm curious to see what upstairs looks like when you get home. The core size the Karate Make are not exactly great. Yeah, this is true. Inappropriate has the Ender 6 and the Ender 7. I had such like high hopes for it, and it was disappointing. It was like they had such a good idea, but they pushed it out too quickly. The execution was just not there. I don't believe you can install any kind of door on the side. That being said, I don't think you can. I know that the frame is welded steel, if I remember correctly. I don't think there's going to be an access point. I think they have it designed where it's pretty damn well caged on the sides. So yeah, I don't think so. Currently, or the access points would be door on the front, and then the lid on the top that you can fully remove. The full top piece is one pane of glass that you can pull right off. I believe it. I will see you soonish. All right. Thanks for stopping by, babe. Erin always stops by, even when she's working. She stops by on her break. Just lower the flow, and you can do a lot of tolerance tests. Yeah, that's true. This is the closest to a 2D printer use. You say that, and it's funny that your name is also oh no, it says just in 3D. For some reason I read just in 2D. It's funny you say that because like our 2D printer here gives me all sorts of problems. We don't use it very often, and so when I do the pumps or whatever that they use to actually get the ink out, they're always dried up, and so it's a freaking nightmare every time I want to use the 2D printer. But yeah, I am really impressed with the hands-offness that this machine has. Like, 3D printers are not plug and play, and I don't know that it'll ever be truly plug and play because there's still like, you know, you got to understand the different materials. Oh, I'm having an issue. Well, did you dry your nylon? Did you dry your PETG or whatever? There's always like, there's still going to be those things, like those elements of it. But I've got to say that like for a hybrid or a step towards that direction, it's closer to that than I've seen, you know. So, and I've used quite a few, because a lot of the sort of like prosumer machines or a lot of the prosumer, and especially when you get to the more industrial machines, they're all closed ecosystems almost. And I've used a lot that are supposed to make it where it's, because of its closed ecosystem, they can manage things a bit better, and there's less like less variables involved. And a lot of those have not been that great of experiences. Like either it's like, oh yeah, well it should be working well because you have this, and the slicer is super half baked or something like that. So that's what was scary to me about this initially, was the slicer was a big part of it. Like, okay, you can use other slicers, but a lot of the great features require our slicer. And so I was concerned, thinking it was going to be like what many of the slicers are that I've seen coming with 3D printers from a manufacturer that are like, oof, like really rough, like very like in their infancy, I suppose. But it wasn't the case. Do I think there's slicers room for improvement? Sure, absolutely. But I think there is way more than enough there for most people to do all of their day-to-day slicing with it. And now it's more just like some refinement, a little bit of UI upgrading, and some of the advanced features to be added on. Get a laser printer. Oh, remove pin. Thank you. One day I'll learn. Maybe, probably not. We'll see. Unpin message. The only thing similar to the X1 and the other 7 is that they produce turds. Oh yeah, there's more of them on my tabletop here. How's it looking? I can't even it's looking pretty good. There's some hairs on the I don't even know what color this is. Like, what is this? Yeah, neat, mint almost. Get a laser printer. I do have a thermal label printer that has been just the absolute best purchase ever. No more buying the sheets and printing and slapping and having alignment issues. It's a Zebra thermal printer, and oh god, I love it. I don't use it all that often now because I'm not really shipping as much as I was at one point, but oh, when I need it, it just always works perfectly. Laser printers are more reliable, you can ignore. 3D printers remind me of shavers, where they are really cheap, but the razors are expensive as hell. Oh, 2D printers. Yeah, if anybody has any additional questions, let me know. We'll stream for a bit longer and then maybe call it around 2:30-ish. Just so that way I can also, because before the homeowner shows up, I also want to like break down some lights and move things to the side so that way he can kind of take a look at all this, because I tried explaining things to him via text, but it's really hard. I did send him a photo too, but it's just really hard to sort of fully grasp the extent of the damage without, you know, seeing it in person. Yeah, the main, I'm pretty content with all of the standard Bambu Lab X1 carbon stuff. The thing I want to play around more with is this guy, the AMS. Like, I want to play around with PVA just to see like how does it handle water soluble. Also breakaway. I think they actually sent some breakaway, which I haven't really used much breakaway. I do know that I've heard of people that are either using ABS with PETG as supports or PETG with ABS as supports without any gaps. So they're basically like perfectly on each other, but because those two materials don't want to bond with each other, afterwards you could just snap it off and get like almost a glass finish on the bottom of it, which I haven't done yet. This would be a cool machine to try it out on. So I might try something like that. And then, yeah, just other multi-material stuff, I guess, more so than anything else. I love the chiptune background music. Thank you. This is definitely like, this is one of the earlier Streamlabs playlists or Streamlabs albums that we had on here, and I love it so much. I'm a huge video game fan. Like, I haven't gotten to play nearly as much video games this last year or two. I sort of put myself in check because my like ability to just play games in small doses is difficult, and so I found it easier to just be like, nope, I'm not playing games for a while. But there was a long segment of time where I was really into like anything cartridge, really, like anything from NES, SNES. Atari was a little bit older than what I like to play, but like N64, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis, like anything older, I was collecting them. I had a pretty awesome collection, and then 7 years ago, I lost my job at the time, and they were just kind of sitting there, so I ended up selling them off because I was like, I could use the money right now. And I definitely regret it, but hopefully other people in the world are enjoying them now. But yeah, this music just like, it's freaking awesome. It reminds me of just like old school video games. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Asker? It seems like it could use better part cooling. The angle that these nozzles are at seems like they're pointed at the hot end. Maybe the part cooling. When I looked at it, the part cooling was actually pretty good. Like, I know, like I'm looking at the, like what you guys are seeing right now, and on it, I know that you can see that the fang definitely is higher up, but based off of the actual sort of downwards angle and where it's coming out from, I believe it's pretty well at the nozzle area. I wonder if I could test it out. Maybe later on I can get like a little thing of like a little cap of water, put it in there and turn the fan on and just see like how much it blows or how much it moves. I think one of the things I think is that for multicolor prints like this, I'm still running it at its stock temperatures, which is 230 Celsius for PLA. That's freaking hot. With how small the footprint this is, I think that I probably could have scaled that to at least, scaled it down to at least 220. The color changes take forever. Yeah, well, I mean, it is, I don't have much to compare it to. Like, I guess that could be one benefit of the palette, is that it does sort of actively do it while it's printing, but every single change, it needs to roll up the entire spool, push in the new spool all the way down from the top, then purge it, then like basically prime the nozzle or wipe the nozzle, and then print. So you do have some control of it, like you can purge less, and maybe there will be some more optimization. But yeah, it's definitely not a quick process, the color changing. But it does seem to work well, which is something that I have yet to experience with any of the other color changing things I've tried, which is primarily palette 2 early on. I know people have gotten really good results with them. It's like, to me, like also the MMU2S or MMU2, I haven't played around with that, and the sort of feedback I've seen on it is either some people love it and get great prints, but the majority of people seem to have nothing but issues with it. So multi-material, in my opinion, is really tricky, especially when you're going through one nozzle versus having a tool changer setup where they've all got their own extruder and all have their own nozzle and hot end. So although that might be the case, I still think this is a really nice setup. And hey, 3D Bruno, thank you very much for the 5 CHF. I don't know what that is. Thank you very much for the donation. We are printing out the Kali Dragon, which is like sort of a new calibration print. I had promised Zerunt last week, or a couple days ago, that we'd print it out. But this is him and the colors, him or her, and the colors that we're printing it out in. Have you tried to see how easy it would be to change a nozzle? I talked about this earlier. I'm not convinced, oops, that's me. I'm not convinced that you can just change out the nozzle. We showed it at the beginning of the stream, and in the full video, I actually have it. To me, it looks like the heatsink, the nozzle, and the throat and the heater block are all one unit. It's very, very small. The entire thing is smaller than the size of my thumb. I was supposed to have some spares delivered about a week and a half ago, but FedEx lost the package and then told me that they found it and it was coming today, but it has not yet. So I was hoping they'd come in and I can show them on stream, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But yeah, it seems to me that, and the sort of general, it might have even been explained to me, but when I spoke to the team for like 2 hours after getting to use it for a couple days with just a massive list of questions I had. And it sounded to me like the process of changing it is basically a couple of bolts, the whole thing comes out, and then you pop the new one in. So I anticipate that's the way it is, and that based on sort of the closeness of it, it would just make sense to me that that's the route they would go. But yeah, I don't believe that it's just unthread nozzle. I believe it's the entire head. I have a pretty sweet retro Nintendo collection myself. Oh, that's freaking awesome. Famicom, NES, SNES game. Oh, that's so sick. Yeah, my first console was an N60, Game Boy Color, N64, whichever came out first. My dad, N64 is the one I have the most memories with. My dad got it for me, and we got it with Mario Kart and Super Mario 64, and spent just like insane amount of hours over the next couple years trying to get all the I think it was 120 stars, and I think we got in the 90s or something like that, and that was the extent we got. But yeah, I love the N64. I have so many memories, like going over to neighbors' houses and playing GoldenEye, or Gauntlet Legends, or Super Smash. Like, it's just so many freaking awesome games. Smooth bow on benchy equals good part pulling. Yeah, I would say the part pulling is actually phenomenal. Like I said, without quick this was printing, I don't know how it was able to, I mean, it has to be the big blower fan on the side. So maybe the part cooling fan, since it is just a single fan that's basically split on the actual hot end, isn't the best out there. Like, I'm sure there's better solutions or ones that have two fans, but the fact that you have that massive fan on the side that basically backs it up, I think that's how they're able to sort of get away with just the single fan blowing fan on the hot end. It also is a really beefy blower fan. Okay, then N64 was the first one I got. What PSU wattage does the 0.1 use? I don't know offhand. ERCF is great and much better. I'm really excited to build the ERCF. I actually think that the ERCF kit that I got is out for delivery today. But I've been playing around with the Switchfire, and as much as I really like it, I'm not super stoked on the bed leveling sensor on it. I really want to switch over to Clicky, and there is a side swipe mod for it, which I was going to install, but you do lose, I think, 27 millimeters of your X build volume, and it seems like Clicky for it is right around the corner, so I'm like really hoping it comes out, because I think that it would be a huge upgrade to the Switchfire, especially because the Switchfire is using a mesh for the bed leveling. Having the accuracy of a physical probe, I just think will really improve sort of the bed leveling on it. Yeah, I most of the time it's probably loading and switching. We can't see it doing, so it makes it feel like, oh, that's fair. Yeah, if you see it, I mean, it's not like, there's not a lot of pausing happening between it. Like, the second it's done, it does its thing. It pulls it up, it loads it down, then it starts to purge it, and then it's ready to rock and roll. So I don't know, again, I don't know, I don't think I've got enough experience with other multi-material systems. The palette is able to actively do it because of the way the two systems work with each other, and it's splicing, but because this is fully removing each time, the benefit is that you can use different materials that maybe wouldn't bond with each other, but I guess the trade-off would be that perhaps it's not going to be, it's dropping turds on my floor, it's not going to be as quick because it has to fully remove the filament from the path. Yeah, right now it's on a layer that has 3 colors, and with how small it is, it's just going to be non-stop purging. And this is probably why the print says it's going to take 4 hours. Can you set the speeds close to the same? I've never speedrun Super Mario 64. Frankly, 50-minute benchy was okay-ish, but those never look great. Can you set the speeds close to this and see how benchy compares between these two? I can do that. Yeah, I can do a slower benchy on this and see. I would be really slowing it down. I'd be really slowing it down, but yeah, I can do that just to see. For those that want to be able to just print slow, maybe for normal printing, and then be able to crank out parts quicker, you know, when they need it. Yeah, no, totally, I get it. I think the reason why the focus has been on that is because it's sort of like, I think it's more impressive, and like one of the kind of features of it is like, hey, look at this thing that can print this fast and produce parts that look pretty dang good at those speeds. But the benchy that came on this file is sliced differently than what the standard settings are on the slicer. Because I tried slicing a benchy in the slicer, and I think the speeds were like 27 minutes. So maybe I should just print it with the speeds in the slicer and see how that compares to the benchy that came off of the pre-slice file. Make a mod with clicky fix on the bed. Yeah, the main issue right now, I think, for clicky is that on the switch wire, there's no way to install it, it seems like, based off of the way it works compared to a CoreXY, without losing build volume. You'd have to have some sort of a mechanism, like the V0.1 has a mod where it uses a servo, but I've really never played around with servos very much, or maybe once, or yeah, I have once, but certainly not with Clipper. So it would take me a very long, and I've never used clicky either, just regular clicky. So if they have something in the works, I would rather just wait for the official clicky to launch than try to figure out how to use the servo and clicky and Clipper with it all in one. You can adjust the speeds, like the slow mode or the fast mode from the LCD screen, but I don't think I want to do it on the multi-material because I don't want to, like, I don't want to screw with it while it's in the multi-material print, because I want to see like what the quality looks like without me interfering. But the thing I will say, maybe I can just post a short video of it later on Discord. I don't see slow mode or silent mode, I guess is what it's called, being silent with multi-material, because the loudest element of this is the spool unloading and loading and it hitting the metal thing in the back. So I don't think you'll see much improvement. The main place I would see improvement is if you lower the speeds in the slicer for a single color print, and then maybe on top of that do slow mode as well. But yeah, I don't think multi-material is gonna be loud. The spool motor and all that stuff, and the hitting the purge tower hitting the purge chute is also quite loud. Yeah, I figured it was. They do some special infill stuff, I think. Inappropriate, I gotta go. I'm going to pretend that I'm installing Clipper on my Ender 6 later. All right, thanks for hanging out. We're probably gonna end it fairly soon here too. It's very hot today in here, and I also, like I said, just want to get everything prepared, but I will post a photo of this later on, and again, if people have a lot of questions, I can do my best to, you know, answer them maybe over the Discord or something like that. Check how many decibels with normal and after in silent mode. Yeah, I could do that with my phone. Just kind of place it in one place, switch it over, and then show that. What's your thoughts on endurance of the machine over time? That's a great question. So somebody pointed out, 1 second here. What was I doing? Somebody pointed out earlier that because, like, for the example, the benchy that's on the internal memory, it runs the resonance compensation or input shaper every single time it prints it. And I was told, like, when you slice new files, you can turn it off. It's basically when you're sending it over via the cloud or whatever, you can choose to have it on or off. But if that was not something that you could turn off, it would be concerning to me, because it is pretty aggressive vibrations, and someone mentioned like things rattling loose. Like, I could see that being an issue if you ran it that often, but I really don't ever plan on running the resonance compensation other than, again, showing it off for the sake of the video or the stream. Or when we move it, like it's on this cart, it's in the same location or in this area, when we move to the new place we're gonna live and it's gone through the traveling, I'm going to run it again just to get a accurate reading based off of whatever tabletop or whatever ground it's on. And that is the main thing that I could think of. As far as everything else, like the consumables should be pretty standard. Like the cool plate is just a sheet. It came with 2 extras. I don't know if that's standard or if that's just, you know, they were sending 2 extras. I don't know if it'll come with the machine or not, but like they're basically, you guys see this? Yeah, it looks like crap because it's not autofocus, but it's, oh, what am I doing? We've got, come on, we got cameras, people. It's like a pretty standard sheet. I mean, there's not much, it's actually interesting. It makes me wonder, if you get a sheet, you could probably use any sheet. I mean, there's like a little, like there's some custom stuff to it, like this cutout right here, I suppose, and like a lip on this side. But like this will be a consumable for sure. Obviously, like the nozzle's hardened steel. So realistically, unless you get a really nasty clog or just do an insane amount of abrasives, you shouldn't have to replace that very often, which I mentioned earlier again, like the nozzle, hot end, the nozzle, heatsink, and throat all seem to be one. I don't think that you can just swap out the nozzle, but time will tell. But I'd rather say that you can't and have them say otherwise than say you can and have them say, no, you can't. It seems built very, very well. I would imagine belts will come loose. There's a like semi-automatic belt tensioning system, which is something in the back here. I don't exactly know how it works. I haven't had to adjust the belts, but it looks like maybe you just adjust 2 screws on the back and that pulls them tighter if they become loose. But other than that, oh, also I could see the things that are like getting hit. So the metal lever in the back for the chute, I think is pretty solid. The little piece that the nozzle clears itself on, it's like a tiny metal piece with like some PTFE. I could maybe see that wearing down, but it also seems like a piece. I think it came with a couple extras. So for the most part, I don't feel, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say like the only way I can answer that is like, let's see in 6 months time. It's definitely printing much more aggressive, which in my opinion typically means that like things will wear quicker. But to what extent and what parts, I'm not, it feels built really well and I'm not entirely confident in stating, you know, in saying anything too specific on that. Does it save the resonance setting permanently? As far as I know, yes. That is a great question. As far as I know, it should absolutely do that, but I don't know. That is actually a really good question. What's your thoughts on endurance? P3P. I wouldn't call it acceptable for center benchy. If the parts I print for actual use, stuff like this, I wouldn't want to use them. No, I wouldn't say that. Like, I mean, I think that this is, again, looking at it again, for this being a 17-minute benchy, I think it's a damn good benchy. I do. I don't know of any other machine other than heavily modified things that can print anything like this, especially when we're talking like this small portion up here. But yes, is it a perfect benchy? No. But again, this is printed at faster speeds than what it's printing at right now. Like this is whatever they did when they sliced this, it's crazy fast speeds. So I said in the video that it can print up to 10, like an acceleration of 10,000. They said that it can actually print up to 20,000 acceleration, which I haven't screwed around with. I imagine that when you're doing the ludicrous mode, that probably is bumping up the acceleration. I wouldn't be surprised if this is printed at those speeds. I will print a benchy with just the current settings in the slicer at 10,000 acceleration with 300 millimeters a second for the wall, inner wall, 200 outer, and 270 infill, and then we can see how it looks. But yes, I would say that again, if this was a part I was wanting to sell or something like that, like yeah, I would. It's not perfect at all. But I would say that the for like prototyping or anything like even a little bit beyond prototyping or for functional parts, this is totally acceptable to me. I would absolutely use this for clamping things or putting things together, like stuff like that. To me, yes, it absolutely passes. But sure, if I was going for the best looking part, there's absolutely room for improvement. There's no denying that. And I did state that in the video as well when I shut off that print. Hey, what's going on, BBs? How reliably is, sorry, Thomas, I missed that. How reliably has it been printing? No big fails at all. There hasn't been any machine related fails other than on a couple of ABS parts with like certain geometries that the top layer where the infill meets the perimeter, there's been a gap on certain areas. That has been the biggest issue that I've had, and I let them know that, and they said that they're working on basically improving the sort of flow algorithm. The other issues that I had was related to wet nylon. Basically, I dried it and the print came out great. PETG that was out of spec as far as tolerance goes, it was not 175, and I thought I had a clog, but I removed it, saw that it was fatter, cut it off, and then it was fine. And then I had a tangled spool of filament. But as far as the machine goes, no like big stringy messes, no layer shifts or anything like that at all. Nothing like that so far. Oops. Gonna go under the in-house rain human washing station shower. All right, Sam, thanks for hanging out. Talking about speed. I would guess that production models will come with a manual instructions on how to make adjustments. I would hope so. I would absolutely hope so. That was one of my initial things as well, was when this showed up, like the AMS was actually inside of this machine and they did a great job with shipping. Basically, the bed's bolted to the floor of the printer with 3 screws. The AMS was inside of a plastic enclosure that was bolted to that plastic enclosure, also bolted to the bottom, and there was arrows pointing at different things, but the bottom portion of the bed, finding those screws was not incredibly intuitive to me, and it took me a bit longer than I'd like to admit. So that was one of my first things that I said too, was like, hey, this needs like better instructions or instructions at all. Once you actually get into the LCD screen, it guides you through the entire process. So it might not need a heavy amount of instructions, but at least enough for like some of the basics to get everything set up and plugged in. And then if it leads you to sort of like an online PDF or a PDF that has the most up-to-date detailed stuff, I think that would be acceptable. But yeah, in the box, I don't think I had any paperwork, and I definitely said like, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need that. Oh, wow. Nero did say that at some point, let's see, report as... So on Nero's stream, there was a ton of bots that were like sex bots, I guess, if you call them that. And I had never seen them before. And he's like, yep, you'll get them at some point. Interesting. Yeah, for the speeds, it's okay, but they say this is so fast. If you use those speeds, the parts don't look great. Set the high speed. The high speed promise is just marketing. I don't know if I would necessarily say that. It depends again on what you're doing, because I've seen a lot of printers print out parts that aren't what I would consider perfect models. And I would still say that it's way faster than any of the other machines. Because if you go look at the parts that I printed out on the video that I put out on the main channel, that one shows a lot more. Like the guy with the USB like flash drive holding and the SD card holding shield, as well as everything else, like the TPU and stuff like that, was all printed at these speeds, which are 300, again, like 270 infill, 200 outer, 300 inner, and to me, like, those look great. So again, this is more of like a speed benchy test showing, which I think, again, compared to what I've seen out there, is very impressive. But yeah, even the quick speeds that aren't to this ludicrous speed, those look to me visually much better. But again, I mean, to each his own. Like, if you don't think it's a good looking print, that's up to you. But I think compared to what's out there, anything remotely close in speed range, that's not like a Voron or something modified, like it's damn good quality in my mind, to me. Yeah, but I get what you're saying with this. Like, yeah, totally. This, like, if someone handed me this, didn't say it came off of this or the print, I would look at it and be like, yeah, it's a pretty okay benchy. Like, there's room for improvement. So yeah, I could, that, like, from that point of view, I totally get it. But then when someone says like, hey, I was able to like shoot this out in 17 minutes, I'm like, that's really impressive. So from that point of view, I do understand what you're saying, but I do think that, again, scale it back a little bit with just the speeds that are in the slicer, and it's still very fast and able to produce high quality parts, which is what I printed out for most of what I was printing on the other thing. Yeah, I would just slow it down, totally. Nope, I get that. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Thanks, G Funny. I think I got one of them too. Yeah, the marketing, I saw the marketing video probably a week and a half or 2 weeks before the unit came in. And I was still like, I'm not sold, because a lot of it was like renderings or CGI or not, you know, I'm like, okay, this is adorable, but like, it's not, you know, it's all like computer generated stuff. And like I said, it wasn't until I got it out of the box, figured out how the hell to get the AMS out and plugged in with no instructions again, because it came on a Sunday, which I thought was weird that FedEx delivered on a Sunday. I wasn't upset because it was earlier than I was expecting it. And when I got the first print going and I saw doing like the input shaper and the leveling and all that in the like scanning room, like, all right, this is different. And then once it started printing, I do get it for the initial wow factor and grabbing people, because it's just not something you normally see. Like other example, every time we get a printer and that we unbox and like do on the stream, the test file that is on there is always freaking slow. Usually manufacturers do the exact opposite. And like, I'm just gonna throw out Crowdy's name. Crowdy will have like the Lucky Cat at super slow speeds, sliced at what's probably like a 0.1 or 0.15 layer height. So it's just going against the grain or going the other side of things. And so that's what really was like, whoa, this is not, how's the purge bucket going? I will need to sweep before the, there's a lot of little plastic pellets on the floor. I've been using the bucket that I showed, like I think last stream, but yeah, there's a lot of little pellets. Oh, cool. Oh, that one's not even from this print, I don't think. That's a different, unless are we on gray? Let me see when, no, gray's the horns. We're definitely not there yet. Let's see. It would be great for if advanced prototyping where accuracy and quality is not important, but it's better quality than some of the Benchy prints on the 95 Pro. But it's better quality than some of my Benchy prints on the Under 5 Pro. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at too. Is like, again, I strongly believe that there's no such thing as perfect, and I don't care whether it's a, you know, like the price of the machine, everything can be improved upon, right? Like there's always things that be improved upon. The hardware on this machine is very, very impressive to me. Like very, very impressive. And I've printed Benchies, like I said in the video, on machines that are way slower than this, and they haven't even looked to this caliper. Like they've been worse than, you know, like this to me, again, not perfect. I've seen better Benchies, but I've seen a lot pretty much worse. So it's definitely impressive. Just print a toilet. Just I sent you a link on Discord for the clicky pro. Oh, sweet. I think the one you're talking about, the nice, is the switch or side swipe, right? The one that takes up some of the it eats up some of your x-axis. No demo on the AMS hub. No, the guy that I talked to, when he told me, because I asked him some of the questions, I said, how does it print 16 colors? There's only 4 spools. Like, is there some sort of blending magic I'm not aware of? And he said, no, you can connect up to 4 of them, which I just laughed quite literally out loud at, because I was like, get out of here. I'm wondering if when it's ready, I don't know if the hub thing's even ready, if they'd be willing to test it, to send it to test out. But I don't have, with how long it takes to print 4 colors, like I don't have much desire to print above that. Like that's plenty to me. And the purging would just be absolutely insane, but I'm sure there's a use case I'm not thinking of that someone would be like, yeah, no, I need that, that's perfect. Hey, what's going on, Remy? I said we were gonna end the stream at 2:30, but I'm having fun. And we'll end it shortly. We'll end it shortly. Let me just check my phone real quick, make sure that landlord hasn't texted me. Oh, interesting. It sounds like I'm gonna check the door real quick, 1 second. I wonder if the FedEx looks like they might have delivered some stuff from Fabrico, which I ordered the ERCF kit. I don't want to like fully open that on today's stream. There's already so much happening, but I'm curious if FedEx delivered the other package. They did. Yes. Okay, I do my best to not share my whole address. Hold on. There's 3 packages here I'm super excited about. One of them is, God. Hold on. There's no room right here. Okay, so the ERCF kit that I ordered showed up. The thing I ordered from DigiKey showed up, which was for, I think for the Voron 0.1 mod. This is, man, the ERCF kit's freaking heavy. Oh wait, no, that's not that. That's not what that is. Wait, what is? Okay, now I'm confused. This is everything but the Fabrico shipment. I think this is the stuff that FedEx lost. That's interesting. That hopefully they. Where's my box? Okay. I think this is carbon fiber nylon from Bambu Lab again, and hopefully some hot ends so I can show you guys what they look like. PLA. Wait, this is not. Okay, so these must be like early spools or something like that. This is more what I'm interested in, so that way we can take a look at it. I believe this is, yeah, okay. Sick. So this is, so check this out. This is pretty wild. Let me see if I can bring this webcam down overhead. So this is the, come on. This is like, I said it's the size of my thumb. Like this is my thumb, right? And it's bigger than this, which is the heatsink cooling fan, the thermistor, the heater cartridge, the silicone sock. Here's the, let me pull this off. Yeah, that nozzle is not coming off. That is part, oh shoot, sorry guys. That nozzle looks to me like it's part of it. It is one with everything, machined into one piece. And the thermistor and the heater cartridge are basically like laying among the side of it. So it's a really interesting, oh shoot. I don't want to damage this little clip thing. I won't pretend to understand how this tiny block is able to melt material as quickly as it is, or how the heatsink only needs to be this small and the heatsink cooling fan this small, but I've never seen anything like this. This is unlike, like let me compare it. Let's, one second here. Let's grab the Revo Micro, because that's probably the smallest hot end I've got. Yeah, so this is, oh shoot, Revo Micro, right? Okay. And this is this thing. It is quite a bit, like, let me see if I can get the nozzle to the same height. There we go. Ah, come on. It's quite a bit shorter than the Revo Micro, which is already super tiny. Yeah, this is the hot end for the X1. It is stupid small. I've never seen anything like it before. It's got a much longer heater block than the Revo does. But yeah, Revo and this guy, it's just bizarre. I guess, you know what? I guess the small cooling fan should be enough to cool it, considering that the Revo's is actually even smaller. This is about 25% larger than the Revo, but yeah, that's cool. So I can at least show this. Yeah, this has no mount on top. It only mounts, from what I saw, there's 2 holes on the very top of it, and that's basically, for me, what it looks like to replace it. And what I was kind of explained, if I remember, is the front's just held on by magnets, right? The cover for the X carriage, so you pull that to the side, and then there's a breakout board in the hot end. So you'd basically unplug the thermistor and the heater cartridge plug, undo 2 screws, pop this one in, plug in the thermistor and the heater cartridge cable, slap the magnetic cover back on, and be ready to rock and roll again. Yeah, so almost the same, yeah, you're welcome, Jaren. I'm glad it showed up. I didn't realize it was going to. I'm also concerned now as to where my Fabrico package is because it's not here. And it says it was delivered, so maybe it's around the corner. I might go out and check in a second here. 1 sec, put everything back. Yeah, heater block is very interesting. The heatsink, I mean, it's just a small heatsink. I don't think it's super exciting. Oops, sorry. But the heat block to me is very, very interesting. I don't know on cost to replace. They told me I don't remember what they told me, honestly. I don't want to quote anything. I think that they basically just said their goal is to keep prices of their materials for those that want to use like OEM first-party material and spare parts to be pretty low. But I don't feel confident saying on that until they make an official statement. I don't know. That's my official statement is I don't know. No, it doesn't look like you can change the nozzle. I imagine that they're going to have different sizes of that entire thing where you can get a 0.4, a 0.6, and 0.8, and a 0.2. On their sort of placeholder, they, like on their website, I guess I'm saying, on the spec diagram sheet page, they list 0.4 included and then optional 0.2, 0.6, 0.8. So I imagine that it'll be the full thing that you'll swap. And it seems like based off of their sort of ecosystem, that makes sense. I would be surprised that they would want anybody to change out the nozzles because then it introduces like, what's the word? Introduces, I can't think of the word I want to use, but like there's more margin like for error with the users switching out the nozzle versus, hey, like this is all together from factory. And I'm not saying that I don't like being able to swap out nozzles. I just did it on the Cobra that I'm testing out from Anycubic, and I love being able to swap out nozzles generally. But in this system that's already like, they've made it very clear, their goal is not to be this open platform. Like they're going to provide all the things. Like to me, it makes sense that they would go that route. They don't want people in there fiddling around with different things. Just pull it out, swap a new one in, and and start putting it again. Yeah, the hardened steel nozzle, unless you get a super, super gnarly jam or just printing with exclusively carbon fiber, then it's not that big of a deal. And also, like, the thing you have to consider is this, is that I don't think that they're only going after hobbyists with this based off of the price point and the spec set. The Ultimaker, for example, they have the similar setup where it's all inclusive and they are crazy expensive. So if they're able to do it at like a third of the price of what the Ultimakers, I think, are $120 for each of the heads. So if they're able to do it at like $40 for the entire thing or something like that, then it's still going to be incredible. And for those that want something like this, like that won't be an issue. I don't see that being an issue. But for those that want no, I just want open source, I want to be able to change it, like I get that too, and it probably won't be the machine for them, and that's fine. I don't think that it's sort of two different use cases or two different segments of kind of the market, But how long will it take to have a new improved model and to be able to upgrade instead of buy a new model? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of things are not really upgradable, like in general. Like, I know that Prusa would be an example of something that is upgradable, but it's upgradable to an extent, right? Like, I think that the earlier ones, you can go up to like the Prusa MKS2 Plus possibly, and then for the 3, it's like a different frame or different sort of system. So I don't know. I mean, also at the same time though, like, although 3D printers are always coming out with new machines with like bigger build volumes and like different feature sets, like not again to this extent, but like most of the 3D printers that I had 3 years ago or have from 3 years ago, like they're totally viable still in terms of print quality and what they can do. So like, I mean, I guess my phone is an example. Like I'm still rocking, like this is the iPhone XR that I got in 2018. And for as much as I love tech, like it's going on 4 years old now. I'm going to upgrade soon, but like it still works really, really good. So with something like this, I wouldn't anticipate that like even if they release like Rev 2 that does something different, like you've got a solid foundation. It's probably going to work for what you need it to for, its lifetime, whatever that ends up being. Can I show below the bed? It's actually fully enclosed if I remember correctly. Is that you can possibly not update it. That's probably one of the selling points, like other printers. There's so much after. I don't think, I am very curious to see what Anchor does with their stuff. Right now, all they've got is a Photoshopped photo, and I hope they do succeed with their claim of no purging. Maybe they have some witchcraft, I don't know, but I don't see how it's possible. Oh, it's looking really good. Let's see, let me look under the bed. So you won't be able to see anything under the bed. Let me see, this is metal. Yeah, so looking, I'll take you guys, show you guys down because we're gonna end the stream soon. It's pretty dark down here. 1 second. Wow, it is. Oh, I'm zoomed in, aren't I? Yeah. I was like, why is it so dark? Okay. I want you to go a little bit lower. 1 second, y'all. All right, on the ground. Okay, so bottom of the bed. Let's see if I turn on autofocus. So it's pretty enclosed. I don't know what's inside, but basically you've got three. These, I can't tell. They actually look like they might be PCBs. I believe that those are the 3 sensors that are in the bed that basically give it its redundancy or feedback when it's also doing the bed leveling with the LiDAR as it's kind of doing the whole process. This crossbeam or this whole area feels like it's steel. And then this is just injection molded plastic, and it looks like it's probably, I mean, it's encasing the electronics and other stuff like that. So I will say though, like if you look at, looking at the front of this, it's a pretty chunky, like this is a pretty chunky bed, right? I mean, like, what is that, like half, 3/4 of it? Let me see. I don't have, I can't get my measurement right now, but like, look at my thumb, right? That's an accurate form of measurement. Like it's pretty big. So I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some sort of insulation or if it's completely not needed because of sort of the, whatever the injection molded plastic and stuff they have in there is just helping to retain that heat. But yeah, I don't know the method of insulation, I guess, but it definitely seems and appears to be insulated to an extent. All right. Whew. You could create a standard size with a thumb. You could create a standard size with a thumb. Oh my god. Crucia has upgrades and steps. Ooh, that's right. Stranger Things is coming out. What do you think of Lugo Labs G3? I haven't seen that. Print quality has been pretty damn solid to me. I just realized we've got like a blob thing now. We got a poo-poo. Let me get it out. I haven't seen that. Oh wow, it didn't kick out. I wonder if I have some strands in the chute that I need to clear out. Thank you for that. All right, I think we're gonna call it. It's been just short of, well, basically 3 hours, and I wasn't even sure I'm gonna be able to stream today. How much filament is being purged for this print? It's a lot. I don't know. I think I have a gram scale, but it's a lot. Basically, there's not a measurement. At least I'm not seeing a measurement on here that states that. But you know, for something like this, it's got 4 colors on the print. you have to think that like every layer while it's doing this, it's purging 4 times, or I guess 3 times depending on how you look at it. But like, so, well, I guess it's 3. No, it's 3. Purging 3 times per layer for the majority of it. So it's basically just doing tiny little bit of yellow. Okay, gotta purge all of it out. Tiny little bit of blue, gotta purge all the way out. Tiny bit of white, and then just rinse and repeat. So it depends on the model, right? Like, if you wanted to do prints that are just like layer changes, which you can do with a normal 3D printer that you normally pause but automate it, like you wouldn't really waste any printer other than the one, or any filament other than the one purge. Yeah, I agree. It would be nice if purging could be done to infill, and I'm hoping that that happens. I think you got it set at 240 for all the colors. On the just board. Yeah, that sounds great. I think we'll call it here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Sony. I'm happy that we were able to stream. We had an insane, we have 139 likes, which is incredible. Thank you, everybody. I was hoping that there would be interest in it, especially with all of the sort of interest going on, or noise around it. And because I had stated it in the last video, I was like, I have to do, like, I really want to do the stream. We stream every Wednesday, but I was really bummed out thinking we weren't gonna be able to stream, but it seems like it worked out, and this filter on the mic is really working. So, I will post a photo of this later on in the Discord as well as on Twitter. If there are any questions that weren't answered, you can ping me and I can do my best to funnel them to the team at Bambu Lab and see if I can get answers. But yeah, this is the X1 Carbon, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what all the other creators think about it. I know a lot of other people have them right now, and I am really optimistic and hoping that they're able to meet the demand as well as sort of the like what they're set out to do. And I think that if this is the starting point and they're only going to improve from here, like it's just going to be nuts. But like I said in the video as well, it is a Kickstarter. Kickstarters don't have any buyer protection as far as I know. So, you know, if you are the person that's hesitant and you want to wait until it's actually available off the shelf, I completely get that as well, and think that that's, you know, a very reasonable decision. So, but yeah, hopefully this was helpful. And again, being able to see it in person and see us play around with it and see kind of how it all works. As far as next week's stream, I still don't know what's going to happen because of the hole in the kitchen and the water everywhere. So I will keep everyone posted in the live stream channel on Discord, and I'll hope for the best and just see what happens. But yeah, thank you everyone again for hanging out. For the members, we got 2 new members, and for the donations, thank you all. And I hope everyone has an awesome rest of their day, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.